All right, there you go. Is that better? Can you hear at least me? Oh, wait, I know it's wrong, guys. I know it's wrong chat. Um, Capture method, automatic, 8-bit window, client area. Set color, reframe, transform, blending mode, hide transaction, skill shot. Can you guys hear me? I think this should be working now, at least from my end. Window capture, new, audio input capture. Um, Royce, can you talk? Let's see if they can hear you, right? You guys can hear me? Okay, that's at least halfway done. Yeah, I can hear you fine. The only issue would be something else. So, yeah, the league is down. We do not like seeing that at all. That is for sure. I mean, the league, it's just capture audio. I think I got it now. Royce, I think it should work now.
Okay, let's try it. Can everybody hear me? Anyone hear me?
If you guys heard that, click yes, because I just changed the audio thing to allow for audio. Wait, this is so. I still can't believe the news that came out. It's actually insane.
Yeah. It's pretty devastating for a lot of teams. I mean, a lot of fans, frankly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it's working. I got it. I got it working. Nice. 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 Yeah. I forgot to
Cool.
just check here. But so for those of you who have not seen it, because I just had the video come out like about a minute before this posted, so I don't think you guys would have seen that. But the UFL, well, James Larson announced that Michigan, Birmingham, Houston, and Memphis, all four USFL teams are being relocated. They are all being relocated to, I'm pulling it up, it was Boise, Indiana, or Idaho, my bad. I'm still flustered. Kentucky, it was Louisville, Kentucky. Where are the other two? Yep, Columbus, Ohio,
Orlando.
and likely Orlando. Now, I know
Yeah.
XFL analyst also said something, but he said Raleigh instead of Orlando. I don't know what the deal is with that whole thing. Bottom line is the whole USFL conference is moving. The Renegades are being somewhat rebranded to the Texas Renegades. No more USFL, no more XFL. Absolutely insane. So, Royce, why don't you give your thoughts on this for a bit?
Well, my thoughts are it really sucks for the fans of those cities for sure, and I like my heart goes out to all the Michigan fans that really made a big effort this year to attend, increase their attendance. I just don't understand that city specifically more than any other city. I think they have a right to be mad. Um, Memphis and Houston, I guess I'm not terribly shocked because their attendance was so low, but the Birmingham, I'm shocked about because they're the best TV market. Why would you drop that? So there's, I guess, also I'm a huge old school USFL fan. So now that the USFL is pretty much dead in the water, all my nostalgia is gone too. So it hurts. It's tough. I I think it's hard for them to basically take the risk of scrapping one entire audience base in hopes for a whole new audience base, and that's kind of what they're doing. So
I did talk about that briefly on there as well. Like for Memphis and Houston, I can at least get it because I was somebody clamoring that Memphis needed to move. But Birmingham, like you said, is the best TV market. Michigan was the only market that saw attendance actually go up, and getting rid of those two teams is
no,
insane to do that.
yeah, yeah, I don't understand those two teams specifically because it's going to hurt. I think. I mean, you're going to lose fans. You're going to lose a big bulk of the fans in those cities that were hardcore UFL fans are going to be so burned that they're just going to give up on it. And that sucks because it's a great league overall, but I wouldn't really blame them. Like I just chatted with the My Panther Pride guys, and they're just feeling like it's devastating. So, and they built their whole uh, podcast around it. So I know there's a lot of people who did that very thing. So now they, what do they do? I mean, they're out of team, so it's tough.
Well, it really is insane. And to some of you talking about that in chat, so the whole thing with Michigan, starting I believe yesterday in the PFN Discord, Larson was talking a lot about how and Stockton were talking about how Michigan had an issue with Ford Field in their stadium. Now, this is something that even USFL fans know about for a couple of years now, is that Ford Field, for how great of a market or a stadium it is, an overall stadium, it's been really rough for the league. The cost of it, of course, the issue that back-to-back years they were not going to be able to host a playoff game. It is a big issue on that front. But there are other stadiums. I know I've talked about it in the past. You have like EMU's stadium and a couple other ones that aren't in as good of locations, but are still in Michigan. That in some cases are like 20 to 30,000 seat stadiums, which is what people want to see. It just is insane that this whole thing ended up happening. It really is.
Yeah. I guess if I'm going to start looking at some positives, I think they have two of the cities at least were an automatic pick, I think, for almost anybody. Boise was a big surprise for me. I mean, when I put out my expansion video in November, I got knocked for even thinking about Boise because everybody was like, Boise's way too small of a market. And, and I kind of thought the same thing. That's where they were super low on my potential expansion list that I had put out previously. So the fact that they're going to relocate there, I mean, it is a growing city. I can see some growth potential there, but it's a shock still. I mean, to me, that was way lower on the list of potential cities than I had it.
Yeah, because I know like locally in like NC, I'm based in Central NC, to talk about. Oh, thank you, G man. I really hope that they keep the Showboats brand. I know you and a lot of other people in chat have been huge fans of that team. Thank you for the donation, but I know somewhat it's like a couple hours away from me, but the Carolina Mudcats left their city of Zebulon to go to Wilson because Wilson is a growing city. And when you see it, it like kind of makes sense, but then you're also basing it on the idea that you're going to be around for a while, and a move that feels like a Hail Mary, it's like, yeah, if the league sticks around a few years, it's going to be great, but with the firings, the like 3 different waves of firings, it's a huge question mark if that's going to even happen. And it's just really rough. You think the UFL is ruined? Ruined is a strong word, but in a lot of ways, I think it is. I've talked to multiple people who have just been devastated. I know Royce, he's already talked about Panthers Pride. I've talked to the State of the Stallions. There's a bunch of people who are just devastated that their teams are just getting gutted. Because even if they keep the brand of the Panthers Roughnecks, which the Roughnecks brand is already dead since they decided the whole Gamblers fiasco, but you already are now screwing over those markets. And as mentioned before, Detroit was one of your biggest TV markets in a pure numbers. And then in terms of actual TV rating, Birmingham was one of your best. You just killed those two areas. And again, in terms of the best expansion cities, New Orleans is still there. You didn't go there. I understand Seattle has the issue with the World Cup, so I do get why you didn't go there. But New Orleans, once again, had great TV ratings despite not even having a team there and haven't had one since the Breakers left. Yet you didn't go there. You're putting a team in potentially Florida when the Guardians, Tampa Bay Vipers, and if you believe what the USFL said, the Bandits all did terrible in Florida. So I don't get that move whatsoever. Columbus, I love that move. Louisville, I get that move. But Orlando?
Didn't they try it already? I mean...
Yeah, the Orlando Guardians for the 2023 XFL, and then the Vipers did play in Tampa Bay in 2020, and then the Bandits, depending who you believe, the reason they became the Showboats was because their merch sales were like the worst of all the teams.
But Orlando, that's why they didn't have a team. I mean, they chose not to keep that as a team because Camping World Stadium had pretty low attendance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I
wouldn't pull that up on here.
Yeah.
2023. I believe it was like the second or I think, well, obviously we know who the worst attended team was in that league. But I think it was the second most or second worst. Let me check.
I think you're right.
Orlando had 8,900 per game, which was the second lowest in the 2023 XFL.
Yeah.
And that was with them playing in the earlier schedule, so it wasn't as hot as it would be playing in this schedule.
Right. So I don't know how they hope to increase that by moving back. It seems, I don't know. I guess to me, Tampa would actually make more sense, but I'm not them. I obviously don't know why they're making decisions like they are because I wouldn't make those decisions. So.
Yeah, and what Gregory's saying in chat is 100% true. It's never trusting another alternative league. That was a whole issue with Memphis. A lot of people, even when they were there for 3 years, a lot of people in Memphis said they weren't going to become a Showboats fan because they had the Memphis Mad Dogs and the CFL didn't last. The Memphis Maniacs in the XFL didn't last. The Memphis Express didn't last. And so, in a lot of ways, the UFL really was viewed as that like last chance for those markets. Because I
Yeah.
said it in 2 years ago in the off season, at the first year of the UFL. I said that year 3 was make or break for the Showboats. There was the 3-year rule, and if they failed, then they leave, and you're killing off the market. You can never go back. You also
Yep.
just killed off Birmingham. You just killed off Michigan. Houston, I would say you killed it off, but it's too big a market to really say you killed it off, but you at least killed it off for a few years. At least St. Louis State. I mean, the whole, like, the worst part about it is because the league is based in Arlington, the Renegades weren't going to get moved, despite the fact that the Renegades would probably be like 6th on all the markets right now. Michigan was a better market. I'd say that you could argue Birmingham. Again, Birmingham Arlington is a pretty 50-50 one. But considering that Arlington is the hub of the league, you would have expected their attempts to be better. So it really is wild that the Renegades get to stay, but then the Panthers don't. It's just
Yeah. All I
hating.
got to say is whoever I buy merchandise for, don't follow that team because I bought Breakers stuff.
Oh,
They're
God.
gone. I bought Showboat stuff because I wrote for the Alternative Football Network. I wrote for them all season long for the Showboats, and it just nothing at all came from it. So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like a lost year in a way. So
And then them putting up the sale again, like the UFL doing their yearly huge merch sale, doing it again. It's just the Roughnecks
yeah,
couldn't compete with the Astros and Rockets. Yeah, I know that was a huge issue, especially the Rockets actually being in the playoffs and the Astros being who they are. Hearing this news, I'm mad as hell. How could they? Like, again, if Michigan was just their moving stadiums, I get it, because Ford Field's had an issue. Again, of course, the 2024 with the whole ticket debacle where it took like a month to get tickets out, I get that. But to move them out of Michigan entirely is inexcusable. That is just a terrible decision for the only market in the league. They may not have had better attendance as DC or St. Louis, but they're the only team that went up in attendance. And remember, Mike Mitchell has talked about it. Him and guys like James Larson did get USFL attendance numbers. Michigan had gone up every single season in their existence in Michigan. Yet you got rid of them. And then abolishing the conferences, I hate those as well. I really hate it. The NFL has the AFC. It's not because of region, it's because of the AFL. Like,
hmm yeah. There's no more USFL anymore, and for me, since I went to games in the '80s and loved that league ever since, and that's why I started following them back again when they came back. That's just a gut punch. So let me ask you this though: what about? And I know we'll know more in the next couple of days, but like just on X, I was kind of chatting back and forth with Boogie Roberts, letting him know I'm still going to follow him wherever he goes because he's my favorite player. But do you think entire teams will be relocated, or is everybody going to be a free agent and allocated or free to sign?
I
I
would
don't know.
I would assume if what Moose was saying and what reports were to be believed that they're going to stick with the 2-year free agency thing and they're just going to move the teams because I feel like doing a full-blown 4 different expansion draft kind of thing would just be with how bad the UFL is run. I couldn't imagine them trying to do that because I mean they in a lot of ways botched the whole dispersal drafts for the XFL and USFL. And
Yeah,
doing an expansion draft where you're taking players away from certain teams, I could not imagine how bad that would be.
I agree. And like Michigan has built a solid core of like
Mm-hmm.
their O line, they just re-signed. Like to tear them apart would be
Yeah, I mean,
dumb.
Michigan's re-signed like over like a
Yeah,
third of their roster. Even
yeah,
Houston's brought back a decent amount of guys.
yeah,
Like, it's just, it really is wild that I heard there's gonna be more news tomorrow. Says nope. I wouldn't be shocked. It's just, it is really wild how insane this is. This is all just came happening. This is why I'm just looking. Scooby just posted. This is why spring football will never be sustainable. Too much change. Can't build a fan base. I'm actually sick and disgusted by these moves. It's just, it's so rough. And I mean, really, everything with the UFL depends exactly where you go back to. Because I know I talked about it when the whole CBA stuff happened, that the only national news the league was getting was bad news. And then it was great the players got paid more, but they got a huge raise and extra insurance, so you just spent a ton more money on players. And then that makes you cut your entire marketing department. And now in hindsight, it makes sense why you butchered the entire marketing department because those teams aren't going to be there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, and I think you're right. I think they'll keep the teams intact and move them to new locations, which is the smarter thing to do. If they don't, I boy, it'll just be brutal for.
Oh
I mean,
man.
even the morale of the players has to just be sinking, at that point. But I think if they keep them intact, that'll help at least the players be on board with it a little more. I mean, their hubs in Arlington anyway. They aren't actually living in those cities, so I guess that's a positive if you're looking for those. Um, I don't know. Yeah, tough to find positives in this, I guess, right now.
Yeah, because it's like we wanted to see a team in Ohio. We wanted either Columbus, we all wanted that.
Yeah.
Louisville, I never fully got the huge hype about it, but I know a lot of people believed it, and they were two cities that, I mean, hey, props to Larson. He called this out a year ago. He said when that whole announcement came out, he said the two favorites were Louisville and Columbus, and he
Yeah.
knows. He's a knower.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
credit to that, but I agree. I can't really think of any true positive because best case scenario is Memphis and Houston get better attendance wherever they go to, which in theory shouldn't be hard at all. But then you have to hope that the other two are able to match what the Panthers and Stallions did and match in TV ratings while knowing that you just butchered the TV ratings in Michigan, Houston, and Birmingham, which, again, despite Houston, how bad a lot of their numbers were, because of how big that city was, their TV rating in terms of pure numbers was actually not that bad. So you just butchered three of your best TV markets, and your only team that went up in attendance. It's going to be wild.
Mm. Yeah. Well,
This is the ultimate betrayal. CEO of Fox Sports didn't protect and promised us they had a plan. It was here. I stay. I'm sick, says Gregory. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely really rough to see that. And then, of course, I know it's not fully official with the stuff with Shannon Harris, but him saying, I'll be back, and then appearing in the TSU staff, which, again, remember, Skip Holtz did have a college job, so it's not like it's a guarantee Shannon won't be back next year. But to have that news come out, to then have the news of the firings, to then have another news of firings, to another
mm-hmm.
news of firings, to this, what would you rate this move out of 10? That's a good question. I got to think about this one.
Mm.
You have a number in mind? Because I got to think about this one.
I'd give it a 1. I mean, honestly, those aren't proven markets. Potential, I'd give it a 8. But overall, right now, I can't give it a high number. I've got to say it's low because they're losing existing fans, and to me, that sucks. That's just brutal. And fans that have already purchased season tickets for next year in
True.
Michigan, at least. So, and that
So now you
I
have
think
that
is
issue again,
yeah,
like you had with the
exactly.
XFL when they merged. I
Yep.
would say gain 2 points for moving Memphis, lose a point for choosing Florida as an expansion market, lose 2 for Michigan, that's -1. Gain, I'd say 3 or 4 for going to the other two markets. I might be with Nope and give it a 2 out of 10. Only because of the fact that 3 of the 4 expansion markets, especially Columbus, are at least solid in theory.
Yeah.
But I can't justify anyone giving it over a 3 because you lost Michigan, Birmingham, and you chose Florida as an expansion location or relocation. Because if you chose Denver instead of Florida, I could buy it. You do choose Raleigh, I could buy it. But Orlando? Orlando? Really? Again? Oh man. And minus 10
And I
points.
guess we'll see. They did say that Tampa was still potentially. They didn't
Yeah, that is
be
true. He said it was
100% that was
more than likely.
Orlando.
That
So I
is
guess we
true.
got to wait and see on that because I I don't know. I guess I want to wait before I knock that move too much until I find out for certain. But I agree that there were some better options out there for sure. So I don't know.
Let me put it this way. If there's a single game in these markets under 10 gates, massive failure. I wouldn't say it's a massive failure unless it's the team Michigan moves to. Then I would say that for sure. I would say it's more so like 7K, basically matching the high watermark the Roughnecks did. If you match their high watermark as your lowest, I can buy that. But if it's under, like if you get another market that's like 5K,
Hmm.
that's rough. The cost of Ford, yeah, Ford Field, like the more we heard about rumors with Ford Field, it made a lot of sense that the Panthers were gonna get screwed over in some way. It's just this is not the way we expected. Because again, you have so many other places in Michigan you can put a team in. So no more
Yeah.
Michigan Panthers. We're gonna see. It's not gonna be the Michigan Panthers, but it might be the Boise Panthers or something like that. That's gonna be the thing that's interesting because I talked about
Yeah.
this in my video briefly, but none of these markets, unless I'm forgetting one, have a trademark name. Like it's not like they went to Oklahoma where they have the Outlaws trademark, right? I don't think they have a trademark for any of these cities.
I agree. I don't think they do.
Hmm. What was the point of the merger if they were going to remove the USFL conference?
Yeah, I kind of had the same idea. Like, why did they do that then?
Yeah, I might have a whole video out before I go on vacation talking about it because it's like the whole USFL XFL merger. It's just it really hasn't aged as well as expected, which a lot of that was because of just how badly they botched the timing. The fact that you waited until January of 2024 to announce the merger, so you butchered your entire marketing heading into that year, and then you didn't market at all this past year aside in Michigan, and then wondered why all the attendance went down. And it's just, I don't know, man. In hindsight, I think the USFL's method, had there not been XFL competition, would have worked the slow and steady approach, since they already had talked to places in New Orleans, to places in Philadelphia. But when you had two separate leagues, because the XFL is the same way with the USFL, because the XFL had to have all their teams play in their stadiums because the USFL wasn't. So you had two leagues that were financially handicapping each other. Then you merged it, and it just they botched it.
Hey, let me ask you this, if you had to guess which four teams would move to which four cities, how would you think it would go?
Let me pull up a U.S. map. I gotta see if there's a couple places that I really think
Because
would
I
make this
have
decision.
my rough guesses, but I don't. I want to hear what you have to
Okay,
say
not
about
a $25 map. Why I'm looking up maps and it's telling me prices of maps. This is why you don't use Microsoft Edge, ladies and gentlemen.
it. Exactly.
So let's see. Michigan, Iowa's right. That's not exactly where Idaho's. Oh my God, Idaho. Well, at least they're finally going west. I forgot about that. I forgot
Yeah.
how west Boise is. So at least we're getting a west expansion finally, which
To
that
me,
could
the
really
Boise
help the
move
TV ratings.
gives yeah, the Boise move gives me hope in Portland that they'll
Hmm.
keep expanding that way because I live in Portland, so I think it'd be cool if they keep that push.
So
But
that's Boise's there, and then where's Kentucky? That's Chauvet's moving to Louisville would make sense. It's literally right across the border. Like I know Memphis is the bottom left of the map, but that's still really close. I could see them go there. Um, as for then Columbus, I could see Michigan go there. Again, Michigan's relatively close to there. It's not like super close, but again, no, actually it is pretty close. So I could see them going there. And then where is the other one? I'm trying to. Oh, Florida. God. I
Houston
guess
to
you'd
Florida.
move. I mean, Birmingham's the closest to Florida, though. I
Oh
could
yeah,
I could see Birmingham and Houston do either one. Even though Birmingham's close to Florida, I think because of the Stallions and then Boise State and like their teams, I could see them put the Stallions in Idaho or in Boise,
yeah.
and then Houston in
Boise
Florida.
State's the Broncos, so they could keep the horse head.
So I think
Yeah.
that could be the call there. But I think Michigan goes to Ohio, and I think Memphis goes to Kentucky. It's time for the AAF to come back. Yes, sir. We would love that. Zombie
At
just
least those express helmets. I want those express helmets back. Those were great.
I love the AAF unis. Hot Shots had great unis. Zombie just put out a video on head coaches. I literally forgot I put that out until I checked. I'm like, oh, I forgot that came out today. I wonder how that fits into the new areas with new teams. Thoughts? I mean, the biggest question with head coaches is Shannon officially gone and is Wade Phillips going to be back? Because I think at this point, if you're the league, you need to realize that at this point, Wade is kind of a liability with his health issues, and you don't want to have something really bad happen again. And I don't know, man. I think that the coaches. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Royce, but I think that at the end of the day, I think Jim Turner should be replaced by either Mazzone or Jaron Horton. think Party
Yeah.
should get a shot at head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, the more you hear about that Brahmas, I mean, legit, you could make an ESPN 30 for 30 and how messed up that Brahmas team was. With
And the cool
Wade.
thing is, like, San Antonio embraced Pardee. They love Pardee there. So
Mm,
I think that's an automatic, I would say. And I agree with you on Memphis too. I think either one of those guys, but especially I'm a Horton fan, so
yeah.
I go with him. Uh, we'll see. I don't know.
And I think the other coaches should stay because, I mean, with DC, it would make sense either if it was Fred or Blake because I personally don't think Blake. I think Blake understands that staying in DC is better for him than TSU because he's either going to be a positional coach in TSU or the DC or even head coach for the Defenders. I think
Yeah.
he realizes that there's no reason to go, and then it's just a matter of if Fred stays. I like the joke saying it'd be funny if Fred becomes head coach just to retire and then make Blake the head coach the next season. Well,
Yep.
league is already on life support. We can't have coaches doing the same. I mean, at this moment, not counting the whole, well, even with the merger, at this moment, I think the most coaches that have changed 1 year to 1 year was the USFL year 1 to year 2 with 4, right? I don't think we've had 4 coaches change aside from that year, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because
I think that was
Sumlin
a big.
left, Fedora left, Jeff Fisher left, and everybody's favorite head coach of all time, Kirby Wilson, left.
Yeah.
And then, because XFL, USFL merger, you had I forgot his name. I'm forgetting. The coach everybody loved for the Breakers. I'm forgetting who went to the Showboats. I'm blanking on his name.
Um,
I'm blanking on his name.
Me too, and I followed them
Yeah,
so much.
you guys in chat know what I'm talking about. The guy coached the Breakers in 23, became the 24 head coach for the Showboats.
Mhm.
That was one change. Wade Phillips was a change. I don't count the Roughnecks as a change. That was the Gamblers to the Roughnecks. Stallions had the same coach. They had the same coach. I think that year only had 2 changes to head coach. So, Nolan. DiFilippo. That's who.
Yes.
That's just completely
Yeah.
blank. I could literally picture him, and I couldn't think of the name. So I guess we'll never see the Michigan Panthers win a championship. Hey, I chose not to go to the championship game. I made a statement saying that I was not going to go to St. Louis again. I was not going to spend $1,000 to go to St. Louis, but in hindsight, it does suck that I wasn't at the last Michigan Panthers game.
They did win a championship game in the 80s.
Hey,
I
that
got to
is
say
true.
that.
Only team to beat the Stars, baby.
Yep, exactly. But if you weren't around then, you're right. They aren't going to have any more fans there, I don't think. I think all the fans in Michigan are just going to be done.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the only market that worked. They went to the draft. They got people to go. The Jake Bates phenomenon was incredible. The Jake Bates bobblehead giveaway in Week 10 was so cool to do. And then now they're gone.
Yeah.
Then the Stallions won 3 straight championships and gone. Yeah. I'm sad Jaron Horton never got to tell anyone to get voted. Hey, Jaron Horton, I hope he gets a head coaching gig. I mean, it would really suck if he's not. But as everybody likes to joke about, the UFL is all for giving guys over 60 years old a head coaching opportunity.
I think Nolan's solid, though. I mean, if you keep guys like him and, well, I don't know about Houston. I don't know what they're going to do there. But I do think let's see. Party's probably going to be, I would guess, in San Antonio as far as coaching changes goes. But then the cities that are moving.
I would imagine Curtis Johnson leaves or leaves. I would imagine. Because at the end of the day, yes, they went 5-5, but that was because the guy he viewed as his worst quarterback became the starter, despite people like us as in both of us said McClendon was that guy. Despite guys like social pariah number 1, A.J. Smith, also saying that. Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't say that Curtis Johnson did a great job coaching. Again, I have an AF to UFL video. Their GM, Will Lewis, he fully turned over that roster, and he's the guy that brought in McClendon, and I don't think Curtis Johnson really had that much to do with that team going 5-5 this year.
Yeah, not at all.
Who replaces Skip Birmingham? I hope. I would imagine nobody, but I will. That's a good question for you. Do you think that with the Stallions moving, he ends up retiring or going somewhere else now that he's not going to be in Birmingham anymore?
Ooh, I can see it. I can see him taking this as I would have stayed if they would have stayed kind of thing, and taking it as an opportunity to either get back into the college ranks or just retire. Period. And I wouldn't really blame him. But I think if the UFL is smart, they'll do everything they can to keep him.
Wait, where did he coach? Where did he coach with Jamar?
Louisiana A&M or Louisiana
Oh, it
State,
was
right?
Louisiana. Okay,
I think.
let me see.
I could be off.
Yeah, it was Louisiana Tech. Okay, I forgot
Yeah,
if it was
Louisiana.
Louisiana or like Louisville, because if it was like Louisville Tech or something, then I could see that. But yeah, I forgot it was Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then yeah, I would probably agree. I think there's a very real shot that he's done then, unless he really wants to keep going. Because Mike Nolan, I could see him stay. He seems to really just enjoy this, having a good time. Like I think him and Beck are the two guys that really like care about the league, and like not that the others don't, but like they're the guys that'll go out of their way to say we love this league or I'm doing
Yeah.
this for the league. So I could see Nolan stay, but Skip, I wouldn't be shocked if he's gone. I wouldn't be shocked if we see coaching changes with CJ, Skip, and Jim Turner, which I guess is the entire USFL conference minus Nolan.
But I agree. I think those are the probably obvious ones, and I hope Skip stays because he's the backbone of that team, and if they lose him,
That's gonna be rough.
that's even more brutal for that market.
Does the Renegades potentially renaming to the Texas Renegades mean the Brahmas are done? I wouldn't say so, because Texas is such a big state that I mean, yeah, it sounds kind of weird to do that, but I mean, it's not like we haven't seen that before. I don't think. Because I mean, the Texas Rangers are the Texas Rangers, but there's the Houston Astros, so not necessarily. It's just that Dallas is, that like when you think of Texas, you think of Dallas, Texas Rangers. So I wouldn't say so. I'd say they're still going to be the San Antonio Brahmas, because like I get that they just went to the championship, but that team last year before their first home game, we knew that team was bad, and they still put out a really solid attendance number, especially their last game. They're Now that Michigan's gone, I would say that they are clearly the third best market in the league right now.
And all they're doing with that name change is trying to migrate all the Houston's fans up to Dallas, frankly.
True,
I mean,
that's a good point.
I think that's what they're doing. And I don't think they'll lose San Antonio. And speaking of San Antonio fans, there are still people in San Antonio who don't go to the Brahmas games because they've been burned by so many other leagues. There's been like 7 different expansion leagues that have tried San Antonio and failed. So if they failed again, no one in San Antonio would ever want a team again. They'd be just. Ugh. So I sure hope they don't lose San Antonio.
At least there's only 2 Texas teams, says Nope in the comments. Hey, I was hoping we would see an expansion team in Austin just to have 4. It would have been so funny seeing everybody complain, and I would have complained too. It would have been funny, but that is, I guess, a somewhat silver lining. We're finally done with the almost half the league is in Texas deal.
Yeah.
So I guess that's good, but like I said, I mean, I love the move to Boise because of regional thing, because that means that the rumors that if the league is around in 27, that Seattle's a lock, basically confirmed, and it allows Portland to be a legit option of potential. Because I know that like one issue with Portland, I believe, is their one stadium that would be great for the UFL has like a ton of different teams in it, right? It's got like a lacrosse team, like 3 soccer teams, something like stupid like that.
Well, yeah, they have the Portland Timbers and then the Portland Thorns women's football or soccer league, and then they have it's a pretty old stadium too. So it's if they do, they're looking at building a new baseball stadium, and if they make that a multi-purpose, then it would be huge. I mean, it would be an obvious move to Portland if they do that, but that's down the road a few years minimum. So.
Because I know that that's got to be the big question is 2026 the last ride? Because the league ain't going to be around 2027, says G-Boney. Because that's the big question, because, of course, the number one thing is the CBA. The CBA was a 2-year CBA, which was cool that we finally didn't have to deal with this talk every year. But now that you have an out for 2026's season being over, and considering how the Players Association did, because, I mean, I don't know if you, talk to people, but I remember when I was posting about that saying that the old PA was better, I got multiple players that liked and retweeted the stuff I was saying that were from the USFL PA. And I would be scared to see the CBA goes up, they talk about potentially doing another season, and then they try to demand another 10K raise. Because I think if that were to happen, it's done.
Yeah.
Because I think it was Boogie or Scooby, I think, said something a while back, I believe it was one of them, who said something that sometimes you got to realize that it's about the long haul, not the quick haul. And then somebody else said something that a lot of the players that were fighting for the huge increase were guys that already made money in the NFL. And that's my biggest concern is that would be what ultimately kills the league is the talk for a 2027 CBA.
I think that was Scooby. I'm pretty sure that was Scooby. Yeah, but I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, that's true. That's a big out. If they need it, they'll probably take that. Boy, I don't want to lose this league though. I don't know about you, but I'm
Yeah,
a
because
huge fan.
Mike G,
So
the XFL didn't need a player union. Well, the big thing is that the USFL Players Union, like what ended up happening in reality is the USFL Players Union had an issue with the team or the allocated bonuses for Player of the Week and things like that. They ended up not getting them for something, and it got a lot of bad will to them in 2024. And then it was a lot of former NFL players that joined or XFL players that saw that and wanted to change it. So what ended up happening is you had the worst of both worlds, where you had the new players that were from the NFL won more money, and then the XFL players who got paid like quarterbacks more money, to where you made that new players association that was just really going for it. Because the USFLPA was able to get benefits and get upgraded contracts without doing something like huge. Because I mean, I know it was reported it was year-round health insurance. It wasn't. It was technically like a 2 or 3 month increase with then like an option of a paid one. But you got like a 3 month increase in your insurance and an 8K pay raise. Like it's great for the players for now, but I mean that's costing the league like a ton of money that they necessarily aren't allowed to spend,
yeah,
and it's rough.
shout out to XFL Mike G though. He's great, by the way. So cool. I just think it's overall this is rough news, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see what shakes out over the next couple of days to see their reasoning and
Mm-hmm.
what their I guess angle is as to why they're choosing those cities.
I definitely agree. I think Boise's because I feel like if they the Hail Mary definitely feels like it's them trying to boost attendance and TV ratings by going to different areas. And to see those numbers go up to then have a 27 season where they can add teams in like Seattle, that would be my guess to that is what their idea is. That's just pure speculation, but
Yeah,
like reading behind between the lines, that would be my guess. Because I've talked about it before that the TV rating, a big issue with it is the entire western half of the country has no reason to watch because there's not even a team there. But now you at least have a team there.
yeah.
So if you're
Well, I wonder
there,
if part of
hopefully it
it.
helps out a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder if part of it was that when they made the push for expansion initially, they talked about having the cities submit interest, and maybe those four cities just did the best job at telling them why they need to choose those cities and giving them carte blanche at scheduling the stadiums and things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
That's a
So
good point.
I, I think that's probably part of the big reason why they chose those. But we'll see over the next couple of days.
That is a good point because I mean we all love. I mean everybody loves to talk about Audi Field being incredible and it is a great venue. But remember, Audi Field also had issues with scheduling because of the stuff they were having on to where the Defenders couldn't host a playoff game. So
Yeah,
now back to back years, you've had stadiums have issues. Wasn't the end of the season, but San Antonio, you missed up on the entire first half of the season because of March Madness. So that's I wouldn't be shocked if that's right that they're getting priority access to a lot of those stadiums and they were able to actually put games there. I think that'd be a good point.
yeah.
National games weren't available locally in every market. I know I've heard some things about that. That some of the games for the UFL weren't fully available on certain markets. I have heard of that before, which is wild, but I have heard of that, and so hopefully that gets fixed. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how 2026 goes because I said it before. 2026 really does feel like a guarantee, but 2027 is feeling like it ain't gonna happen. Which
Oh
I hate
no.
saying it, but when you see moves like this being made, it's definitely scary because you just blew up half the league basically.
Yeah, but then do they promise those four new cities a team and then yank it out after 1 year? That'd be tough too. I mean, but well, I
That would
guess
be
look what
pretty
they just
rough.
did to Michigan. So maybe I don't know.
Had Audi Field hosted the UFL Championship, they would have had 20K instead of 15K in St. Louis. St. Louis, man, that I know I talked about it in a live stream, and I think I talked about it briefly in video. It's St. Louis, great city for the Battlehawks. St. Louis is not a city that you're going to go to every year for a vacation. It's not New York. It's not D.C. The fact they had the game again in St. Louis, even after what happened last year, was just diabolical. I mean, I had a plan if it was in Birmingham. I was going to drive through Georgia, see some friends there, and then head over to the game. If it was in D.C., I was going to go there, but St. Louis, and a lot of other people didn't go to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will keep, we'll keep the community alive. I hope that this ends up keeps going. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. Do they just, surely they're not going to change the names of all the teams. Like, I just can't imagine them changing their names, because it's already such a struggle for people to know about the league and their teams. If you change all 4 of those teams' names, I mean, like, surely they're not going to do that, right?
Boy, I don't know. I would hope not.
Because, I mean, people know the Stallions. They know the Panthers because of Jake Bates and, Brandon Aubrey. Because that's another thing that I even forgot to point out.
Yeah.
2 of your biggest players, the 2 biggest players from this iteration of spring football, so not the 2020 XFL or 2019 AF, are Brandon Aubrey and Jake Bates, who are from the Stallions and the Panthers. Surely you're not going to change those teams' names.
That's a great point. Really good point. Because then any association that NFL only fans have with the UFL that's positive would be absent now. So that's a great point.
Bryce Perkins was like one of only, I think, 3 players that ever trended on Twitter this year. That's another one that would hurt if you lost him.
Yeah.
I mean, gotta hope. It's like you said, Zom, about if the team relocates, still having named the original Why the Fan Support team, they're going to relocate again. It is true. It'll be rough, but I don't know, man. We did that for Beham. We gave everything. However, spring football was problematic in the South. We knew this was in advance. The Twitter UFL community is the UFL community. It's going to be wild to see what ends up happening. Yeah, Cavante Turpin losing his team. That was another one that really sucked to see. You had the MVP that went on to the NFL. Though he may have lost a few games of his upcoming season. But it's just going to be wild. Oh, yeah. I don't even want to check Iowa Stallions' Twitter. Nope. I don't even want to see what he's been tweeting.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But
you got to feel sorry for guys like State of the Stallions who spent so much time.
Retire.
Oh.
Let's see. Let me just check. Let's see if there is anything major going on Twitter. UFL Score got me talking about this a bit. Brandon Silvers tweeted something. Oh, no. Might as well change the league back to the XFL. Yeah, they ain't doing that, apparently. Okay, Graham, let's see what UFL Update just said. Statement from league spokesperson. The league office is in the planning stages for next season and beyond. At this point, we have nothing to report on any unauthorized speculation. Okay, so they're just saying some stuff. There's an event tomorrow for the Stallions. Yeah, Graham just tweeted that I will be at the UFL Birmingham Stallions event tomorrow, hoping to get opinions on the big news in person from Skip Holtz and more. In the meantime, stay tuned to James Larson and others for relocation to begin. That is going to be pretty wild to see what ends up happening there. Because, I mean, we have seen some big news being dropped at those meetings before.
If you're planning on going to those meetings, you may think about different plans. Because they may not happen if this is real. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be pretty wild seeing what ends up happening there. Scooby Wright, Birmingham, Alabama will always have a special place in my heart. It was the most fun I ever had playing football. Shark Dog Mafia forever. Thank you for embracing me. I hate seeing tweets like that.
I guess part of what he's saying, though, it does mean right now, until the league officially announces it, it's speculation in a way, but it's obvious that the people that are reporting it are trustable. And I think that's what we're going off now. But
yeah, because
I guess we should put that caveat out there.
Because, I mean, this is something I believe has been, was tweeted out by almost the same time by, multiple people, I believe. So there was somebody, I don't remember if it was Parks, I don't think it was Mitchell, but somebody did post it on the UFL News Hub. And then Larson posted it, and he was already talking about the whole Michigan stuff a while ago.
Yeah.
So, let's see, UFL News Hub. I know everybody knows how much I've talked about UFL News Hub before. um, let's see. So Mark Perry talking about it.
Yeah.
Yet Mark Perry is one who initially announced that one on there. Eh, it's going to be interesting. Call me immediately. Transfer portal. Okay. So people are trying to get this stuff. Iowa Stallions tweet is just pain. I can't believe it. We back the North versus South. We're bringing back North South. True. A lot of PFN guys who do the UFL podcast are Panthers fans. That is a good point. Michigan Panthers pride. I know he's not part of PFN. We got him. Shadow. I know he's another Panthers guy. Ref was a Panthers guy. I'm not mistaken. You got a few other ones. Then I mean, of course, Showboats. Brandon, I believe he's another one there. So that's another one. And then even James Larson, I think, was kind of like a closet Stallions fan, I believe. Perry and Larson tweeted, yeah, they both did. Okay, I got to see what Iowa Stallions said. I got to see how this is.
I think Larson would claim he's neutral, but we all know. No.
He is definitely neutral.
Yeah. I got to say, for me, as a Showboats fan who was originally a Breakers fan and followed the Showboats because most of the Breakers went to the Showboats, it's been just a wild ride to go through losing team after team. So, again, if I buy merchandise for a team, don't follow that team.
They killed my Iowans, Daddy. They killed my team for Idaho. It's just a gif of a bunch of Family Guy characters killing themselves. What the hell? That is pretty wild, but I'm not super shocked. Ref is a rough. Oh, that's right. I kind of forgot which one he was. A Roughnecks fan, which that's rough in itself.
He tweeted out that at least they aren't going to lose any games this year.
Hey, that's a good point. Silver lining, undefeated, just like Chael Sonnen, undefeated, undisputed.
Yeah.
I hope at least one of you in the chat got that reference. I mean, man, like, dude, today was such a, not great, but it was such a good day for sports news. UFC finally announced, like, an actually good card at UFC 320. I was like, oh, man, this is sick. And then I get a DM from Jake, UFL card, saying, did you see this? And I see the DM, I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, my God. Just
so
wild.
What do you think? I guess, do you have people that are following, anybody watching from any of the potential expansion cities that are super stoked right now?
I know I've had a decent, I mean, that I can recall off the top of my head. I don't think so, but I know I have heard a lot of people say that. Ohio is one that I know a lot of people said would be a really good place to go to. Florida, I still believe Florida's one of them. But Boise, I have heard a couple people in the past say it, but it was like you, where it wasn't like, oh, this is going to happen. But I have heard some people say that it's a potential one. I always expected Denver to be one just because Denver has like 5 stadiums that would be good for spring football in terms of how big they are.
And they're about 3 million population higher.
Yeah, they're a huge one too. So that was one right there. I'm in shameless because St. Louis about to lose another team, and I ain't even okay, St. Louis, they're definitely safe. Okay. I mean, if St. Louis moves, that is them punishing them for the championship game.
I don't think any of the XFL teams are going anywhere. If they would have done it, they would have done it right now.
Yeah, the Renegades would have been the one to move. Even though I know they're the hub, they would have been the one to move because that team really hasn't done great. James Larson hinted yesterday around the UFL or reach venue changes. Because, I mean, I saw in the PFN Discord he was talking about Michigan. Like, Michigan, I had seen that in the Discord. I knew he talked about that because of the whole Ford Field thing. But the fact that it was all 4 teams relocating is just insane. I mean, I talked about in the video. I had heard Memphis was relocating like a while ago. I had heard that. Not everyone I talked to had heard that, but I had heard about Memphis moving. I had not heard about any other markets. In fact, the last I had heard from people was Houston was fine. So something changed during that time with Houston. And, I mean, hour and a half later, I still can't believe they're moving Michigan out of Michigan. Like, I think that's the most egregious to me purely because you had other stadium options.
It's 100% the worst. Nobody can really argue it. It's just brutal. And because of their increase this year and because of the loyalty that the fans were starting to show up and buy more season tickets for next year, and it wasn't like they were on the decline or weren't showing up. That's, I think, a huge miss.
Because
It's a blunder.
I know EMU stadium is relatively small. Isn't MSU stadium not like, I know the big house is absurd, but is MSU stadium nearly that big? Because I know EMU, I think it's like a 30 to 40K seat
That's
stadium.
a good question. I don't know for sure, but I can try and look it up real quick.
Hey,
Yeah.
nope. I'm trying to not dwell on that fact, nope. So don't bring up the Panthers fan stuff. Even though I got the Panthers jersey on, I'm trying not to dwell on that one. So I guess Renegades 12-0 2026, baby. Oh god. But yeah, San Antonio led the UFL and season ticket. Yeah, I mean San Antonio it's a solid market. I know XFL analyst said that he still was disappointed in their attendance, considering what the AF was, but considering how bad that team was last year, I mean, after their first home game, which had all the ticket sales before that, like there was no reason their attendance should have even been above 6K the rest of the season. The fact that they were hitting relatively to actually strong numbers, San Antonio did really good last year, and I'm gonna be interested to see what they do next season. I would not be shocked if they end up being like the second, third best attended team next year. Probably third, but I wouldn't be shocked if second. EMU is
Spartan
32K.
Stadium.
That's not bad. That's a good
Yeah.
place.
Spartan Stadium has 75,000 capacity, so
Okay,
it's huge.
that's a bit too much.
Yeah.
But EMU at 32K, and I don't know exactly where EMU is relative to the Ford Field, but I believe it's pretty close to it. The other locations in Michigan weren't close to Metro Detroit. That sounds pretty right. So it's a signal that Fox is going to drop spring football. That is a good point because these are all the Fox teams. But at the same token, it feels like Fox cared about spring football a lot more than like ESPN and them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for me to fully say that because I wouldn't be shocked if this is more so a Redbird Capital and a pure monetary perspective thing. But that is a good point to bring up that these are all the Fox teams getting moved. So it'll be interesting to see if Larson, Mitchell, Parks, someone reports that this was either a Fox move, a Redbird move. Like, I would like to know.
Doesn't it make you wonder what happens to Moose?
That is a good question. Because I mean, like at the moment, him and Danny are like the only two doing everything like all the time.
Yeah, but if he's lost all of his teams that he carried into that merger, is he going to stick around? I hope so. I mean, I think he's a big advocate for the league and does a lot of the legwork that you don't see The Rock doing. So
yeah,
I would hope.
I know a lot of people like aren't a fan of Moose always talking about stuff that he wants, but I think it's a good thing. It makes him seem really genuine when he's sitting there saying like, "Oh, we're changing the kickoff rule, even though I don't like it." Like it feels genuine. Like I get what some people are coming from, but whenever he talks, it's like you can tell he's just telling it like it is. He's not trying to BS you or anything.
Right.
And sometimes, like with the Memphis talk he had like a year ago, it comes off kind of wrong, but it still comes off as honest. And then, I mean, I think I put a tweet out or something, or no, I put in a comment section what you said as well. The Rock ain't care. He is only there to give money for Danny. That is the only reason he's there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ducky just pointed out, or just put out his power rankings for the 2026 season that he said are very real. He's got the Ohio, Bulldogs at 1, the Boise Breakers at 3, the Kentucky Stallions at 4, and the Orlando Guardians at 7.
I like the Boise Breakers because there's zero ocean around there at all, so that's funny.
Hey, and I mean, why not continue the trend? I mean, I know I've said the joke before that'd be really funny if the league were to put a team in these 3 cities, New Orleans, Boston, and Portland, and would just name them all the Breakers.
That's hilarious. Oh man. Oh, dude. Well, I think Ducky's funny on that one. That's good. We'll see. I do hope, like you, I hope they keep the original USFL team names and just relocate them.
Banner break says statement from Russ Brandon incoming. Stay soon. Yeah, I was just checking that up because I know someone said that there. When Memphis had stayed in, wow, I butchered that. Would Memphis stay had Fred Smith still been around? I feel like, would you agree? Would you say that if the league gave him somewhat of an ultimatum of like either, hey, buy like 49% of the team or we're gonna move him, you think he would have potentially done it? Had he, still been around? If they had said either you buy 49% of this team so we still own it, but you cash in some of the money for it, or we move the team, do you think he would have done it?
I don't think so, honestly. He's he has no incentive to buy a team that's not showing up for their. I mean, the fans. They had 2,000 to 3,000 super great fans. Nobody else showed up. So, and I know that a lot of it was because they are a losing team and they were losing again, and you got to win to actually show up for. But I think the potential was there that they should have been showing up anyway. And especially if you look at the Showboats potential of, they had 52,000 people showing up to that exact same stadium in the 80s. It hasn't dropped 50,000 worth. You know what I mean? As far as, so something was off there. And I don't see him being a businessman investing into that. So
I would definitely have to agree with that one. He's resigning. I'm trying to see if there's any other talk about the potential Russ Brandon news. Him resigning, surely that ain't gonna happen. That would be insane. If that happened, oh my god. I mean, safe to say this is the biggest news of spring football we've had since the merger announcement, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Fox is out. They're going to wait for the UFL to kick the bucket and possibly bring the ISFL back. They're rolling with World Cup, MLB, NASCAR, IndyCar, MLS, Live Golf. The only thing with Fox is that, because the Disney part ownership is like kind of a rumor. It's like rumored they might own 1% of the league. But Fox does own the league. So the big part about Fox is it's free broadcasting for them. That's the thing that's been great with the USFL, to where even when they're losing money, they're not losing as much money as, let's say, Redbird Capital, Danny and Rock, or ESPN, because they're not paying anything for the broadcasting. I mean, that's the whole reason why Friday Night Football existed, right? You didn't pay for SmackDown. You got college football, college basketball, and then UFL stuff. So even with this whole move, the one thing for Fox is that if it ends up working, I mean, again, they're not paying anything for the broadcasting rights, and that's a pretty big deal for them.
Yeah. Boy, Fox does it right too, frankly. As far as, to me, they're a night and day difference between watching a Fox broadcast and ESPN. Fox is clearly better, in my opinion. I know there's different opinions out there, but if they're not going to continue and they just all get swallowed up by ESPN.
Yeah, ESPN got rid of Stormy for, what was it, Aaron Dolan? The quit yapping Aaron Dolan meme everybody talked about. And then, I mean, seriously, like, I guess we're on a random tangent. Like, Aaron Dolan's like, when you analyze something, you're supposed to give an opinion. Like, when you say, oh, this player hit the over on rushing yards, like, that's not analyzing anything. They're just stating a fact. Like, Stormy did better, and she was on the sideline.
Yeah.
And then all the over-under talk and there's a time and a place to mention the over-under or a favorite when it's wild, but the ESPN broadcast, it was like every minute they were doing that.
And it needed to be 2 or 3 times max per game instead of every single going in the commercial and out of the commercial. It was just annoying. But
Eagles are in need of D. What's going on? So if you haven't heard about the stuff, because again, like, I know I normally get stuff put out relatively quick. This was like 2 hours ago. So about 2 hours ago, James Larson and Mark Perry posted that the entire USFL conference is being relocated. They're going to Boise, potentially Orlando, maybe Tampa Bay, maybe Raleigh. I don't know, conflicting reports from apparently Larson. I said Boise, and then this isn't a sick joke. Sadly, it ain't looking like that. And then the other two places were Columbus and Louisville. So it's insanely wild right there. It's not so free. They pay for it more than they're paying for the league itself, but I'm talking purely a broadcasting right. They're not paying for it. And so it's like, that's kind of the cost effectiveness in a sense, is like, you have to view what would you spend on show X or sports league X, and then subtract that from the stuff you're making in a lot of ways. So, like, obviously it's still a matter of you have to make enough to justify it, but in certain regards, like, that's what makes it to where their profit margin is a lot better than, let's say, ESPN side of it, where it's like they need to actually get a profit. The 80s USFL and NFL caliber teams, as opposed to this current spring football league, they also had individual owners. I agree with that 50%. I know I wasn't around for the whole thing, but at least for everything I've seen, the players, obviously, I mean, Herschel Walker is a legend. He was great in the NFL. I mean, even though he wasn't a Hall of Famer, Bobby Abreu was still really great in the NFL. He had a bunch of other players. I mean, obviously, you had multiple Hall of Famers, including coaches like Levy. But
Sam Mills.
Yeah, Sam Mills. Not in the Hall of Fame, but Sean Landeta was one of the best punters of all time. And then
Kelly and
Gary
Young.
Zimmerman,
Yep. White. You had tons of
Anthony
great players.
Carter.
Yep. Oh, I
I
love
mean, you
Anthony
had a
Carter.
bunch of ones, but in terms of the individual owners, the one issue with, at least from what I've read up upon, is the individual owners really is kind of what helped kill the league, because you had a bunch of owners spend too much money, and then that made it so where Trump could just have all the power because he had money.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing with the MLS format, which a lot of people said the UFL needs to do, is where you get owners for teams, but they're not really owners, where they own like 49% of the team, to where they run it and they supply like 49% of the costs of it, but the league still owns the team, so that you don't have something that happened like with the old USFL, where you had a bunch of guys basically go bankrupt, and they had, what was it from the Small Potatoes documentary? You had guys like were racing to the bank to try and get their checks cashed before they got bounced.
That was the Gunslingers. Yeah. Yep. That was terrible. So
Yeah, the IndyCar ratings. I am shocked at how insane the IndyCar ratings are. I mean, I agree with that car. It is wild how insane those ratings are for IndyCar. Like, I know it's growing a lot of popularity, but I don't know, man. I think it's pretty shocking. They got to get to 10 teams. I agree, and I would say this guarantees that that's not happening this year.
I would agree but it does open up some markets for if they do expand in 2027. Now you've got the Northwest possible.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, I mean, if you have an Orlando team, then could you also put Tampa or New Orleans down there to market, or to, I guess, be a rival? I think that does open it up for a 2027 expansion to 10 total. But
I fully agree with that, because I mean, I think that it's, if 2027 happens, it's a guarantee Seattle's back. Would you probably say that's true?
Yeah, for sure.
And then a second team could be Portland, could be in Florida, could be somewhere in like that central area. It's definitely a lot that could be.
Yep.
So I do agree with that fully. I would say that's definitely like a guarantee if the season ends up happening.
Yeah. Or it could be a city like Boise that's not on any of our radar. You know, I mean, it was on my radar, but a blip, like a small blip on the radar. So I don't know. But I think that city must have done a pretty good job at selling Boise to the UFL. So
why not let NFL players buy a UFL team? I mean, look at the OSOs. I mean, to a degree, it could work if you do something small where you just have them buy like a percentage of something, like a small percentage to kind of cover the cost. That could honestly work to a degree, because I mean, like, I know guys like Lynch have owned other teams like the FCF before, things like that. So to a degree, it could work. It's just they don't have the full funds to get it, because you not only have to pay for the cost of the players, but stadium rights, practice, equipment, food, subsidies for renting, and all that. So,
but I like that idea just for the face of the league having names behind it that people know. Frankly, I think that would help. I think that's a great idea, but I don't know that they're ready for that yet.
I do agree with that. They're definitely not ready for that one for sure.
Yeah.
Which definitely sucks, but it kind of is what it is on that front. But Boise is a small TV market. It feels like Boise is just them trying to get a Western market going. The four new markets are Boise, Louisville, potentially Orlando's a question mark. It's Orlando, Tampa Bay, Raleigh. Probably Orlando is the most likely one. And then the other one is Columbus. Those are the four markets that are right there.
Yeah. I will say, if you look at Boise growth over the last 5 years, the city is on the upside. You know, they're growing. It's got a lot of potential, and I think they see that. And it's also a market that doesn't have any competition out there. Like, they're not competing with the NFL. They're not competing with a basketball team. They're not competing with a soccer team. Well, that's a good question. I don't know if Boise has soccer or not, but
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but they definitely don't have an MLB team, so they don't have any spring competition that I'm aware of. So anybody from Boise, let us know. Do they have an MLS or a junior MLS team or anything like that that would pull away from UFL fans? I don't know.
That would be definitely a good question for that, but let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, I'm pulling up the wrong thing over here. Let's see, Boise State pro sports teams. I said Boise State. I was wondering why nothing was coming up. There's minor league affiliates, it looks like.
Okay. But if you do look at Boise State's following, those fans are passionate football fans, and that's key, I think. If you're going to at least expand to a city like that, you're going to have a well-documented, passionate base to go to, and they do.
Boise has a single A team. I believe that's an AHL team. I got to check. It says it's an affiliate with the Stars. I think that's an AHL team in the Steelheads. The Horsemen, which are an indoor football team.
Yep.
Let's see, a golf tournament. I don't know how you count that as a pro team. So it looks like they don't have a ton of stuff in general. So it would be like the only pro team in the entire place.
Yeah.
So
Horsemen are NAL, right? National Arena League, I think, is the Horsemen. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I know you know the NAL and AF1 more than I do.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably right.
I think
the Texas Renegades. That is. I know we haven't talked about that a lot, but that is a pretty weird one. Like, okay. So for Eagles, before we talk about the Texas thing, so the whole reason with Michigan is there's been issues with Ford Field every single season. There was issues with tickets not coming for sale. There's issues with how much it costs to be in Ford Field, and there's been issues with availability for the stadium. So this was something that's been talked about for a few days, that just the issues with Ford Field was going to screw over the Panthers, but that's the one thing. But the Texas Renegades, I mean, you think it's solely for the Houston thing, or do you think that there's any other reason they would do this?
I think it's just a rebrand to try and get more Texas fans interested and pull in the Houston fans that can't follow the Roughnecks anymore. Because, I mean, I think you've got a core in San Antonio and potential in San Antonio who are going to wait even maybe 1 or 2 more years to make sure they're going to stick around before they go to games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of locked in. But everywhere else in the state, if you can build by rebranding yourself as Texas and not Arlington, which is, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they should have ever changed from Dallas in the first place, if you ask me. But overall,
pretty weird to do that and then change their name again.
Again, yeah.
What are they going to do next? They're going to become the Southern Renegades?
Yeah, that's an odd one for sure.
It's just wild.
And maybe they're just following, because frankly, the Rangers in the MLB play in Arlington, so maybe they're just kind of following that model and saying, hey, if it works for them, maybe it'll work for us.
Yeah, I mean, MLB, they got the Houston Astros, so it's not like it's you have a Texas team, well, we can't have 2 of them, so.
Yeah.
I do think it makes sense in that regard as well. Do you think expansion will happen now? If the league is around in 2027, I think it's a guarantee. Like, the move to Boise, the rumors we've heard with Seattle, it really does feel like as long as the league is around for 2027, we are having expansion. Because Seattle would just be so free. There's no World Cup in 2027. You have Lumen Field available for you. It feels like that would be a guarantee. It's just a matter of actually getting to 2027, which is
and you have a brand built and a fan base built already. So I agree. That's a given.
Half the teams will be called the Breakers. The other half will be called the Renegades. I like that. I like that idea.
Nice.
We'll put 3 teams in Texas. One of them will be in Arlington, the Arlington Renegades. One will be in Arlington, the Dallas Renegades. Then another in Arlington, the Texas Renegades. And then we'll have the Portland, Boston, and New Orleans Breakers. I think that would be a great league.
Yeah. Hey, they're all 8 in Arlington, frankly. So, I mean...
True. I will say, it is still wild to me that we have had 2 USFL seasons, 2 UFL seasons, and an XFL season, and only the 23 USFL had more than 1 team truly based in their home market. That's absurd to me. For those of you who don't know, the UFL and XFL, all their teams are based in Arlington. They get flown out to play in those stadiums. And in 2022 USFL, every team played and was based in Birmingham. 23, there was teams based and played in Michigan, based and played in Memphis, and based and played in Birmingham, which is insane that that's still the record.
And Canton. You had Canton as well, right?
Yeah, it's just that you had the Pittsburgh and the New Jersey, which I really do feel like if the USFL came back in 2024, like there was no merger, I feel like one of those teams would have been the Canton General, or the Canton
Maulers.
whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. They couldn't find another field. Yeah, because the issues with Michigan is because of the Metro Detroit area. There's really no city super close, and the only stadium that would make sense would be EMU Stadium. And if they weren't gonna get that because of turf or stuff, then that was pretty much what screwed them. Blame the marketing teams, not the locations. The only team that would make sense to fold would be the Showboats. I mean, I agree with that. The Showboats, like, no offense to anyone who's a Showboats fan, but the Showboats had bad attendance. TV ratings were really bad. I mean, did you know about the TV ratings, about how they had, I think, the two worst rated TV numbers on, I think, all three networks?
Oh,
Because
no.
I know ESPN, they had the worst in all three of them, but I think they may have had the second worst in all of them as well. Like, it was bad.
Wow.
Because, I mean, Memphis's themselves TV rating was rough, and then because it wasn't just like obviously the game that went head to head with the draft was going to do bad, but it was rough for the TV ratings. That was my real reasoning is saying that they should move, was because it became, at least to me, that they were that team where if you were a casual UFL fan and you saw the Showboats were on, it's like if you're a casual NFL fan and you saw the Cleveland Browns are on, you just didn't put it on.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely sucks. I know guys like G-Man, guys like you who are fans of that team, it's just...
Yeah. Well, and the bummer about this whole thing is that the casual fan, like you were just saying, the casual fan is just going to mock it even more and say they don't know what they're doing, and it's just going to it'll put the UFL in a negative light for a while, and it's tough enough already. Like, why do you shoot yourself in the foot like that? I guess for the potential of future growth, but at the same time, you got to know you're shooting yourself in the foot in the immediate, right now, here and now. So,
I mean, calling it a Hail Mary really is. I mean, this is the ultimate Hail Mary, for sure.
yeah,
Because if this ends up working, it is going to make you look like a genius in hindsight. Because best case scenario for this, the worst attended team is Orlando at like 7K, and all the other three markets do over 9K. Immediate success attendance-wise. Another best case scenario is it makes the Western TV market go alive, and your TV ratings get higher than 2024. If that happens, best case scenario, hindsight's 2020, you look like a genius. If it doesn't happen, the league is cooked.
yeah. Then we all look for a new hobby.
Losing Michigan is a mistake. They had only growth. Yeah, they had the only growth this year. It just really is insane that they said, nah, we're going to get rid of them. Yeah, the Panthers and Stallions moving is insane. I mean, because Birmingham was the hub for the USFL. I mean, they had to have had a great state. Like, I know the best stadium deal was always Canton with Tom Benson, but I mean, Birmingham had to have had like the second best stadium deal of the entire league or something like that, or the best. Now that Canton's gone, and that's why they're not there.
Yeah.
Will Levis, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson in the league. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if we want Deshaun. Hey, actually, no. If we got Deshaun Watson in the league, it could be like, I forgot his name, but it'd be like the Maulers quarterback in '84 when he had all the fans throwing batteries at him in Pittsburgh.
That was Cliff Stout.
It would be just like that. You could have him play in Houston, make a new Houston team, call him, and then have Deshaun start there.
Oh,
you get really good attendance for one game, and it wouldn't be good for
UFL,
a good reason.
We don't want Deshaun. Just say no to Deshaun.
Too bad he doesn't say no.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting couple days. That's all I could say. It'll be curious to see how they spin it.
I just hope all the news comes out before I go up north. I don't want to be gone and get a notification on like Saturday when I'm a week away from going home, and it's like, oh, by the way, the entire XFL conference is relocated, and be like, thank you, I can't make a video for a week. I will say I am at least glad that this news came out today, because I'll put a community post for all of you who, obviously people aren't watching the stream, but on Friday till like the first Sunday in August, I won't be home, so I won't be able to make videos. I do have videos scheduled. I guess a little spoiler for everyone here, we've got upcoming videos are does the UFL need to change the Super Challenge? What if AJ McCarron returned for the 25 season? And 5 AAF staff members to the UFL. So we got those 3 videos coming up while I'm gone. So At least we got some content being made.
Nice.
Which, man, it's still wild how many people came from the AF and are still around.
Yeah.
Like, how many of you guys know that Scott Spurrier has been around in almost every single season of spring football?
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Only 2022 was he not. He was with the AF, both XFLs and the UFL both seasons.
Wow. Nice. I didn't know that. That's cool.
I didn't know that before looking at it, and I was just because I was trying to find a fifth guy for the video because like I remembered Will Lewis, Moose, obviously Anthony backed another one, Donnie Abraham, and then I'm looking, I'm like Scott Spurrier. Hold up, he was with the Renegades too. Okay, there we go.
So was he an assistant on the Apollos?
Yes, he was
Okay.
with Donnie on the Apollos and his dad.
Yeah. Which his dad was a coach in the original USFL for the Bandits, which is kind of cool.
It is wild. I mean, I think the coolest one of those has to be Payne Pardee. How you had his grandfather was the Gamblers coach, and
Yeah.
then he's here. That was really cool. That's one of those really wild ones.
That is cool. And I just learned this year that his grandpa also coached in the WFL for the Florida Blazers in '74, which was amazing. So,
WFL.
yeah. Yeah.
It's a shame
It's
the new
wild.
team, the Raleigh team. Hey, I still have no idea what to make of that because I mean I don't think XFL analyst has changed that post, so I don't know what the deal is with Orlando versus Raleigh. But if it's a Raleigh team, I'll actually be able to go to a regular season game for the first time ever, and I'll be going there with a sign saying, "I hope it lasts." But hey, we'll
Yeah.
see because I know I've had a few people say they want a team in Raleigh.
Yeah.
Eric Shanks drove a stake through the heart of the Stallions fans. Yeah, Stallions, Panthers fans, Showboats. I would say the Roughnecks, but there really aren't that many of them anymore.
I
It's
got to
pretty wild.
know, yeah, I got to know a lot of amazing Memphis fans this year. So
Mm-hmm.
my heart goes out to them. It just sucks. And Panthers fans at the same time. I mean, really doing a weekly broadcast like we do, or at least a consistent broadcast, you get a lot of people who are just so passionate and
Mm-hmm.
follow the game and love it so much that to just pull their team out from underneath them has just got to be such a gut punch and brutal. I just feel for them because now they're all their passion that they've been having and putting out there. Where does it go? And I hope they can stick around and forgive the UFL and move on to another team. But it's hard. I mean, it was even hard for me. I don't live in New Orleans, but I'm a Breakers fan by way of
Mm-hmm.
the '80s Breakers who were in Portland. So when they lost the New Orleans Breakers again, I was just bummed. So it's hard. It's hard to go through as a fan.
I mean, I remember the biggest reason, aside from Bates, I assume the Panthers would have higher attendance was when the 2023 set came, or 2024 Upper Deck set came out in EPAC. There were two teams that were actually hard to get cards for because of how many people were chasing them. The
Hmm.
Battlehawks, and not the Defenders, not the Stallions, but the Panthers. Those
Mm-hmm.
two teams, it's why I don't have a complete non-101 set for the Panthers because so many people wanted those ones. When I saw that, it was like, okay, Panthers have legit hype. There's legit people wanting this team, and to see them go, see the Showboats, because I mean, I know a lot of people are like you. The Breakers, a bunch of their players went to the Showboats. Their coach went there, became Showboats fans. So you're losing your team for a second time. Same with the Maulers. A lot of Maulers fans became Breakers fans. So
Yeah.
you're just losing a bunch of people there. And
Yeah.
then it's just rough. And I also wonder what this does for New Orleans' TV markets. I know a lot of people speculated that a lot of people started being fans of the Stallions from New Orleans. So it's gonna
Hmm.
be really interesting. And I will say it'll be interesting to see how much the Marks cast gloats about this and actually is happy about this happening.
Yeah, but he's pretty much said he's retired anyway, so we don't
Oh,
really
he
have
is
to worry about it
retired.
too much.
Okay.
Well, who knows? That's what they say, but I don't know if he'll be back. Anyway, I just I need to think about what my role is and not anybody else's role, and just move on and be still support the league as best as I can, even though I feel a little bit hurt right now. I'll get over it. I think we all will and move on because spring football is still a thing and it's the best spring league out there. So as long as it's here, let's just do our best to grit our teeth and bear it and move on and just be fans still. So
I think I'm kind of in still in that numb stage right now where it's like
yeah,
it's not fully set in that like the Panthers like might not be the Panthers anymore. Like they're obviously not the Michigan Panthers, but like they might not be the Panthers. I don't think that's like it hasn't fully set in yet, and I'm
Mm.
hoping it doesn't set in for a bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's pretty rough right there. The shambles. That's diabolical. The XFL wanted to wipe out their biggest competition. I got into spring football because the 2022 USFL, and I won't lie, this really takes wind out of my sail. Yeah, I mean, because let's put this in both sides. If you're a USFL fan, all the teams got moved or are being fully done. And we don't know if they're going to change the names, but they're all going to be gone. So a
Yeah.
lot of those people are going to have no reason to keep caring about the league. If you're an XFL fan, you saw one of your three best teams in the Roughnecks get changed into the Gamblers and then have that horrid season in 2024, and it just completely botched. And now you're seeing that even though your teams are staying, you're losing the entire XFL branding. And so you're like, okay, so our team stayed, but now we're not the XFL anymore. And to where it's like, just like the Gamblers change, instead of appeasing one side or the other, you're pissing off both sides. Because that's what I hated about the Gamblers Roughnecks move. Was they should have either just A, kept it as the Gamblers, or B, just kept the Roughnecks. Instead,
Yep.
you made both fan bases pissed off because the Gamblers fans lost their identity and the Roughnecks lost their team.
Yeah. Which was a good team. So, hey, I have a question for everybody out there is if you're not going to follow your team anymore, if your team's gone and you're pissed, what sport are you going to follow? What league are you going to follow? Are you going to follow an IFL team, an AFL team, go to strictly baseball, basketball, NASCAR? What are you going to follow? I'm just curious as to what people are going to do. If you're saying you're giving up football in the spring, what are you going to do? Because I can't give up football in spring. It's too ingrained in me.
Yeah, I
But I
mean,
know some people probably will. But I'm
it's
curious
also
as to what
definitely
they're going
part
to
of
do.
my identity now. I can't imagine if the league were to go under what I would do here. It's like I can't imagine doing something else on here. And it's
Well,
like,
the good thing is, I guess there's the ELF, there's the Mexican Football League, there's tons of other leagues out there in the spring, Canadian Football League for that matter. There's something to follow, but what are you going to follow if not the UFL? I don't know. I'm just throwing
yeah,
that out there to
I
think
mean,
about.
it is a big question because there's definitely going to be a lot of people who this was like their final straw. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, to move half the league is insane to do.
Hmm.
I mean, it's one thing to move a team that makes sense, but to move two of your most successful market in regards to growing the market and your best TV market is wild. I was a Roughnecks fan for the UFL. I live in Arizona, so maybe the Boise team because they would be the closest. I will decide later on how my team will be. I think it's also going to be a big question to see if, in fact, how they do it, if they just straight up move the teams and all that. Because then it's like, if you're a Roughnecks fan and they put the team in Orlando, do you still just follow the Roughnecks even though they're not in Houston anymore? Because, I mean, I know a lot of people are like me, or like you, or like people in chat who, despite being fans of a team, have never been to a regular season game before because they live nowhere near the team.
Exactly.
So it's like, for me, if the Panthers move to, let's say, Columbus, am I going to be pissed that they moved out of Michigan? Yes. Am I going to be pissed that's probably going to hurt the fan base? Yes. But am I still going to be able to be a Panthers fan? Yes. So at least for a guy like me, there's a somewhat silver lining. But then all the people in Michigan just get screwed over, and it's just rough to see that. And then you're losing a huge part of your fan base.
Yeah. I tell you, for me, I'm going to go where Boogie goes, and we'll see. Wherever Boogie ends up, I'll be a fan of whatever city that is. I don't know. It's tough. Although when New Orleans comes back, if the Breakers ever come back, that's my team.
I mean, surely if the league lasts to 27, surely it would be Seattle and New Orleans that would be the two expansion teams. Like, I can't imagine the league actually lasts to 27 and they expand and they don't do Seattle and New Orleans.
I'm with you.
I mean, those are two markets that would be successful. I mean, people forget that Seattle had a bit of a lower attendance in 23, but then they also forget the reason for that was the XFL scheduling for the Dragons was some of the worst things you'd ever see. I mean, they had like 3 games on Thursdays and Monday, and they had like 4 of their games head-to-head against Kraken home games. Like, it was like the issues with St. Louis this year on steroids.
Yeah. And at least St. Louis are kind of close. Well, I guess Seattle's Krakens are close too, right? Yeah. Well, fairly close. But yeah, the people could kind of bounce back in St. Louis right after the Cardinals game, get over to the Battlehawks game if they wanted to, kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was that, like, I know that the attendance wasn't the best for the Battlehawks, but I know that day where they had, like, the Blues game and the Cardinals game, you had, like, what was it, like, over 70-something thousand fans in those games? Like, that's dedication for your city right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Panthers relocated is a huge... Yeah, it would be insanely funny. That is the one thing about moving the Panthers to Ohio, is that would just be, like, the ultimate middle finger to those Michigan fans who are fans of especially, well, Michigan Wolverines. That would be the ultimate FU to them, and that would be hilarious. But at the same token, that could give somewhat of an identity to the Ohio version of them. I mean, hey, Ohio's got to have something to cheer for when it comes to the rivalry. I mean, I know they got the national championship, but they haven't won in, like, what, 6 years now?
Yeah. It's geographically the closest for them, and if they're looking at how can we make it simple for fans who might be on the bubble of that fan geographical space to transfer to their new city. Sadly, I mean, Michigan actually makes the most sense to move to Ohio, but we'll see what they do. Who knows? I can be way off.
To your point, Nope, about is James getting fired because of this note. He technically wasn't the first one to break it. The reason he posted it was because Mark Perry broke it first. So in terms of that whole thing, like, I know he's making the joke saying that he's gonna, that he's possibly going to be denied a league media card or something because of the news, but technically Mark Perry broke the news first, and then Larson did. It's just within like 2 minutes, so... Because, I mean, on his post before, he said news got out before I could put together a full legitimate piece on it and talk about stuff, and that's the article where he says big pieces coming out tomorrow with all that's happened behind the scenes. So I guess we're going to have an update tomorrow about this whole thing, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see about the media stuff, because I know I've heard, I think it was XFL analyst who had some issues trying to get media credentials. Like, it seems really weird who they give media credentials to or how they do it, at least from what I understand. It's like certain people you would assume would be shoo-ins for it apparently didn't get it. Because, like, I mean, XFL analyst is like the most followed guy in the entire community, so you'd assume he'd get it, but... It would be funny if the league was that petty that they were to deny James Larson media credentials. I would say that would be so funny.
Oh.
At UFL, if you do it, I will forgive you if you shoot your boy one. Bring the team to Raleigh, make me the Larson of Raleigh. I will buy a cheap $100 camera, and I'll be the guy that takes photos for you.
I don't think James Larson knows who I am, but we all know who James Larson is. If we lose him, we're losing all of our information. So we don't want to lose James.
Hey, I will always be happy knowing that I did not DM Mike Mitchell first. He DM'd me. Now, was it about anything with info? About me having info? No, but can I have that on my resume? Sure. And I will gloat about that because that's like the only thing I can gloat about. Well, no, cool. I can gloat to Jake of UFL Cards that I have Breland Speaks following me and he doesn't. He may have about 200 players following him that don't follow me, but I got Breland Speaks.
Yeah. Yeah, Jake is awesome, by the way. If you don't follow UFL Card, find him. He's great.
Go watch the interview. The first time I had a guest on this channel, talked about his cards that he made, all of his USFL stuff, and how he's continued to get, like, every year it's like a new team or two, gets the whole team to get in touch with him, get cards made for him, and he makes cards for them. It's wild. It's really cool.
Yeah, he's got a great story.
I would say probably the most underrated guy in the entire community.
I'm hoping to have him on my channel soon when he gets things settled down a little bit. He's got some stuff he's going through, but yeah. I can't get enough of his cards are just awesome. So, and I've kind of taken his inspiration and done my own set. So it's just fun. It's fun. To me, it's a great tie-in with the league and the hobby. And so I just don't have the connection to the players that he does. So I'm interested to talk to him about all of that.
I hope with them breaking this news early in the UFL offseason, the league will see the backlash and change their mind. I think this is stuff that's probably gone too far to really change their mind. But I will say that the benefit of it coming out this early is that when the season comes around, it won't be like the CBA. Because, like, the CBA was bad publicity. To have it happen right before the season was rough. Because then the only publicity you got was bad publicity. I know the saying is, any publicity is good publicity. But, like, You would have rather it been something else than that. So at least there's that. UFL won't last. Book it. I mean, 2026 is going to happen. 2027, I don't know about that one. How is everyone enjoying their Tuesday? It was pretty good until about 3 hours ago.
I do think you're right though. They'll have enough time to do damage control between now and when the season starts, and they're going to need a lot of it. They're going to have to right away get on that and start spinning it their way, and they will. I think they'll put out all of the positive things about the cities they're going to and the reasons why they did it. I'm just really curious as to what they're going to say.
Because if
But
they're
that's what they're
able
going to do.
to put out, because if it's like what you were speculating, which I agree with, that they're going to actually get to be able to choose when they play, which is an issue with a lot of the stadiums.
Yeah.
If you're able to get, if you were to get single game tickets available like as early as like September, that would do a lot of goodwill for just in general UFL fans. Because I know it's been a big issue with everybody is like the single game tickets not coming out to like February because of the MLS stuff with Audi Field. If you can get like a baseline schedule for those teams and get single game tickets out that early, that would be really good for goodwill.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be huge.
I could have went to sleep peacefully, but not. Hey, you've heard of like the OG Woj bomb or the Shams bomb now? This was the James bomb. I know he wasn't the first, but this was a bomb. Because, in reality, like, I know it's not as big in news, but in terms of, like, it being a bomb, this is the biggest bomb in spring football history, I would assume. Because, the merger stuff was rumored for, like, 4 months or something. But this just...
Yeah, like you said, it's the second biggest piece of news that's come out. Well, it's the biggest piece of news that has come out since they announced the merger, period. So it's huge, huge, huge news.
I haven't checked the Discord. I kind of don't want to because I know it's going to be something wild. UFL really took a crawl. This is from James Baker. UFL really took a crawl, walk, run approach just to get frustrated. They're not walking fast enough, so they decided to cut their legs off thinking
Oh, man.
XFL Jim just said, it's somewhere out there in a parallel universe, we get both the XFL and USFL thriving in back-to-back seasons. I forgot about that. I think somebody else brought that up in chat. July 21st on 3-Man Front. Direct quote from Skip Holtz. I was told absolutely not. Birmingham is not going anywhere.
Oof. Wow.
That's not something you want to hear.
Nope.
That is definitely not what you want to see right there. Let's see. Is there any other thing? Why merge just to kill one league 2 years later? Understand the issue. Small markets like Birmingham, Memphis. Plus, state another quote from James Baker. Issues in Michigan, but replacing them with cities like Boise, Louisville, and Orlando, where the XFL already failed, is just confusing. You're killing already existing fan bases to move the markets to the same level of potential. Still nothing to New York, LA, Chicago, and Phoenix. That's what I put out in my video. Like New York and LA, there's arguments to not put a team there because it's just the amount of money you have to spend is absurd. But I don't think people realize that Chicago is a massive market, and I am shocked that they have not even tried to put a team there.
Yeah. I agree. I think LA has proven too that they don't really show up for spring sports, but Chicago does. So why not Chicago? I'm with you there. And
James Baker's also saying what you said. He would have rather them just go back to being the Dallas Renegades.
Yeah.
Amira just said, cannot wait for the league's ChatGPT generated post about the relocation. Oh my goodness.
So that's curious. So Amira followed the Battlehawks. I know she covered them. How are Battlehawks fans feeling right now? And I guess fans of the existing XFL teams, are you just breathing easy now that you didn't get your team cut? Or are you a little nervous that this is making the league a little shaky, period? I don't know.
Come on, man. We already have season tickets for the Stallions next year. True.
Sorry.
It's a lot like the merger, right? The XFL already had season tickets going out, and then they're like, oh, actually, you bought your Vegas Vipers season tickets? That was cute of you.
Yeah, but why wouldn't Michigan Panthers people buy theirs? They should have. And they did. A lot of them did already up again. So those people got screwed big time in this whole deal because now they're going to have to go try and get their refund, and or I hopefully the team is proactive about it and sends their refunds.
Mm-hmm.
But just that's tough. I'm sorry for everybody in those markets.
It definitely is just. It is wild to think that this still came out today. I mean, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else being put out. I mean, UFL updates again, just putting out the thing you saw, the summer wide 70% off sale. Just
Mm.
wild. That, of course they do that like the day it happens. And then the speculation stuff is just there's no way this is real. BM Stallions Nation. Seeing a lot of people talking about this stuff on Instagram right now.
Mm.
Let's see. It's wild, but I mean, with your point about St. Louis, I think this past season we've seen that aside from DC, St. Louis's biggest rivals were Michigan and Birmingham. And so
Yeah,
you just lost two of your three biggest rivals. So I think that is definitely a big deal for them. Because, I mean, I believe the two best games, like the best game of each past season, was Birmingham St. Louis.
yeah.
And you're not going to get that same kind of game anymore, which is just really wild.
That's a great point, though, because if they put one of those two teams and relocate them to Louisville, which is actually closer to St. Louis,
Mm-hmm.
that might grow into a huge rivalry.
This is true. And especially because, here's another thing to note. Because they're doing this weird change, it is entirely possible they will revamp the conferences as well to
Yeah,
have a North and South or East and West. So you could then realign it to have certain teams. Because in theory, you would want to have a conference with Louisville, DC, St. Louis. Who would the other team be for that one? If you were to do a North Conference or a East Conference, something like that.
Boise would be the other if you're going north.
And that wouldn't be that bad. That wouldn't be that bad if you were to do that. And then you would have Florida, the two Texas teams, and you would have Columbus, I guess, be the South, which
Yeah, although they're farther north than I think DC might have to go south, D-
well,
because Columbus is
technically
way above.
DC is technically, I think, a little bit more northern. I'm looking at the map. I think it's a teeny bit more northern. Let's see. If you were to do East and West, which would be really awkward, but you could do it, you would have
Yeah,
DC, you would have Orlando, Columbus, and Louisville would be your East one, and then your West would be, yeah, that would just kill off any rivalry though with the Battlehawks. It would be weird,
yeah.
but they'd have to probably do something like that.
Hmm.
What if the UFL planned this to get attention? That would be hilarious. Sometimes I wish Donald Trump came back to Oh no, I don't know about that one. Come back, give us 1 year, and then say we're gonna move to the fall, baby. We're gonna do it again. What's your opinion on the Renegades brand being changed to Texas Rangers? I know we talked about this a bit. We both agree, and James Baker also is a big Renegades fan, all agree that it would make more sense to just go back to the Dallas Renegades. Because, I mean, everybody's already been complaining about them using the R logo. I know they've been using the Bandit logo more. But just do a full 2020 rebrand, go back to the Bandit fully, go to the Dallas Renegades. I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
You're going to fold the UFL MVP's team. Gave Bryce Perkins all these awards and then said goodbye to the team. Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Just absolutely wild stuff. And I mean, I'm very curious to see what these reports that Larson is saying are going to come out tomorrow. That's what I'm really concerned about, or just questioning what's going to actually happen there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what could come out that's going to really be a big thing?
I have my thoughts, and I think it's all just going to be positive spin. And no, they're not going to address the negative, other than refunds will be issued, and that's all they'll say negative. And then everything else is going to be focused on why we moved to these cities, which I'm curious about. I
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong; I want to know why they're choosing those, but they're gonna spin it all positive and not focus on losing a big, huge chunk of their fan base.
It is going to be funny. Good old UFL update putting out a joke tweet. Turns out this entire relocation process is a massive front for the league to fire CJ Johnson without any of us realizing. Hold up, where is UFL? What's it? UFL the like the Central I think it's actually UFL Central because nobody had that. Where is he? He needs to make a joke about this. Make some sort of funny tweet about it. That'd be hilarious if we were to come and do something like that. I still love how I don't think anyone ever found out who that was.
Yeah.
Good old UFL Central or whatever. UFL News. Why is there so many new UFL? UFL Daily, that's who it was that made the joke account. But yeah, the UFL's last few news stuff, of course, what was it, like 4 days ago? That fan is suing the UFL for Samson Nakua slapping him.
Mm-hmm.
The whole league is going to be relocated. Just wait, 2027. Guys, the league's going to be around in 2027. All the teams are being relocated to play in a hub in Arlington, Texas. That would be hilarious. UFL is fixing something that is not broken, then fixing something that is broken. Yeah. I wish it would have just been Memphis and maybe Houston that got moved.
Yeah.
I really wonder what's going to come out tomorrow. I wonder if it is going to be a league saying it. I wonder if Larson's going to have more reports coming out tomorrow that he has. Because, I mean, with this kind of news happening in late July, I mean, it could really be anything that could come out.
Yeah.
My dumbass thought this was an April Fool's joke. I'm not even... When I first saw it, when I got sent that screenshot, I'm like... I got taken aback. I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way this is real. And then you go look at it and you're like, oh my god, they're actually doing this. Like, because again, the only rumors we had heard was just Michigan. Well, I had heard Memphis, but that was when, even without knowing rumors, I mean, we all kind of assumed Memphis was going to be moved when Fred Smith died. But, well, speaking of dying, I mean, usually I don't talk about non-UFL players, but we did lose a legend today, of course. Ozzy Osbourne did pass away today, so prayers out to him and his family, one of the biggest icons in music history. So that definitely sucked to see today, but I mean, Birmingham getting moved, it's just that Birmingham being moved is the most shocking from a pure shock perspective, because at least Michigan, we had the issue with the stadium, but Birmingham, man.
Wow. Yeah, I wonder what their reasoning is going to be if they even address it, but why would they say they're going to move from that market, which is the best TV market? I just don't understand. Or will it be attendance has dropped?
I mean, it's just such a good. I mean, I don't know the details, but I would bet so much that the best stadium deal they have, maybe Choctaw, but aside from maybe that, it's protective. Like, there's no way they're paying that much to play there. Yeah. I mean, that's the one they had the huge deal with, where they had all the teams playing there in 23 or 22. They had 2 teams playing there in 23. There's no way they had some sort of huge deal there that they're saving money on. Mm-hmm. So I really want to know why they're doing that, because there's no reason to move that. It's like what Adrian just pointed out. Birmingham, in terms of this era of spring football, the ultra-modern era, that was the original. Every team played there. The Stallions were the first champion. Just wild.
Yeah. Well, hey, Zom, I'm on vacation, so I'm going to kind of wrap it up, but I appreciate you having me on. This has been great. And if you haven't followed me yet, I'm Viking Wax Press on YouTube, Facebook, and X. But Zom is great, so make sure, if you haven't followed him yet, give him a subscription, because he's the man. He's always been the most prolific out there outside of James Larson. So it's pretty great.
Again, links are in the description, and I updated. If you refresh the page, I have his link in both the title and the description, so you go check him out. Done a lot of spring football, not even spring football, just alt football stuff on his channel. Yep. So go see him there. And again, thank you for coming on. I know, I mean, this whole thing came about like 15 minutes before we went live.
Yeah.
So this is definitely pretty cool to do this. I haven't done a live stream like this, but really cool to have you on. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Have a great night.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you too.
Bye.
I mean, let me know, chat, if you guys have anything else that you would like any thoughts on before we end this stream, because I just it's just, I mean, the attendance did plateau. It is true that happened, but it's important to remember that a lot, like, you have to view it on the new market. Is the new market going to be better than what you currently have? And that's why getting rid of a team that didn't necessarily, because I mean, to me, Birmingham's attendance was better than I expected. When Larson put out the report initially before the season about the season ticket renewal rates being as bad as they were, I assumed Birmingham was going to go down a lot more in attendance than they did. I said it before. I think the Mother's Day game, even though it was Mother's Day early on, that was still a terrible game in terms of attendance. But if you eliminate that one, their average attendance really wasn't that bad when you consider that 2024, their attendance got spiked because of the A.J. McCarron game, and where you had an outlier that season as well. The overall consistency 2024 was, or 2025 was better than that. So while their attendance was technically plateaued, it wasn't like it went down, which again Memphis and Houston both did. And it's just, and again, TV ratings is another big thing. The TV ratings of Birmingham were still really good. They were the best team, like tied with St. Louis for the best TV rating. So seeing them go, it's just like Memphis was the one that made sense. Your attendance was horrid. Your TV rating was even worse. And again, as I mentioned, they had the lowest viewed game on all three major networks, and they had like the second to worst game in all but maybe one of them. So that one makes total sense. You lost Fred Smith because he passed away. There was no reason to keep Memphis. But Birmingham is one that you just, it sucks. Personally, I'm not sure if I'm going to watch League next year. It just feels like it's destined to fail now. I mean, it definitely feels like the AAF, because I mean, the AAF, probably about like week 3, it also felt like that. Like in the AAF, being around that one, being the one that got me into spring football fully, like we knew about week 3-ish that this league was screwed. Once we realized the owners legit had no money to spend for it. It's like the AF1 or AFL, I should say, last year, 2 years ago. It was obvious from the get-go the league was screwed when they added like twice as many teams they were supposed to. We knew it was screwed. So it's going to be one of the things where, again, I'm just sitting here with a huge question mark, because it's like, I don't want to think about a world where there's no spring football like this, and it's like, well, what do I do here? But I think the city leaders should share the blame for it. It's tough to say fully who gets the most blame. The most blame really is on the marketing and the UFL's finances for marketing. The UFL not really using that correctly. It's just, yeah. I was so happy to see consistency in the league and in this bombshell. Yeah, I mean, it's important to remember, 24 to 2025, that was the first time in spring football that a league stayed the same. The OG USFL changed every year. Even the UFL that played in the fall changed like every year. This league doing that was remarkable. And then this happens, and it's wild. But it's fun to comment here with y'all. I honestly would not be shocked if come in a few months, it's, mid-March, I'm doing a live stream, and I'm getting comments, people who just aren't even watching the game and are just here to talk about other people that they've been talking with before. I honestly wouldn't be shocked. It's just, I wouldn't be shocked at all. It's just wild. XL wanted to kill their biggest competition all along. In the future, I'm definitely going to have to make a couple videos about the merger stuff, about what things would have been different if they didn't merge, or if one league went under and one didn't. Because, again, it's one of those things that when it happened, right, it was a huge deal, and it made sense since that the leagues, were losing money because they're going against each other, losing TV ratings. But then they had the issue where they didn't get the merger done until January. Technically, it was December, but it was January. So you got that absolutely screwed. You had no way to market for 2024. You had the Michigan and Houston issues with stadiums. So that 2024 season, in terms of attendance, got just totally screwed over. 2025, you were supposed to market. You really didn't market at all. So you screwed yourselves there as well. And then your attendance went down, minus Michigan, league-wide. And your TV ratings went down. And so now we're heading into a 2026 season where it's like, okay, so what's the league going to do? Because, yes, adding new markets is going to be marketing, but is it really doing that much? Don't know. They aren't even sure if they got a job now. I still say 2026 is like a given. I said it before. I think that when the season ended, it felt very much like 2026 was going to happen, but 2027, legit question mark. I think it is now a legit double question mark, right? You're adding that second question mark where you're like, okay, is this actually something like is it going to happen? But 2026 still feels like it's going to happen. We're staring down the barrel of the USFL and Fox and Hubs again in 2027. Could you imagine if that happens? The league folds and then the Fox is like, oh, by the way, we're starting up the USFL again. They're all going to play in Birmingham. That would be wild. It's inward marketing. It's going to be wild, but because it's tough to blame everything. Because like when it comes to the marketing stuff, when you're seeing all these places leave, it makes sense to why all these guys in Michigan, Birmingham, Memphis, and Houston got canned. If you're going to move the team, what's the point in keeping them? And then some of the other guys, like when we heard Arlington's guy got fired, it made sense. The team really didn't do that good marketing. So you're seeing that whole thing happen where it kind of makes sense now why these certain markets lost their, marketing people. Makes sense now in hindsight, now that we know what ended up happening. But it's wild. If they bring in new coaches, I'm certain there will be a huge player shift. I mean, it does usually happen. I mean, we've seen that before. Like I said, I think that in terms of coaches, Skip is now a legit question mark. I think there's a legit shot he doesn't come back. I think there's a good chance we match 2023 USFL for the most overhaul and a coaching change. Because 2023 you had 4 different coaches change. There's a good chance this happens again. Because there's a good chance that Houston, Memphis, I said Houston twice, and Birmingham change. And there's a chance that San Antonio does, and even Arlington, because Stoops is like a question mark every year. So it's possible we could see that happen again, but we'll see. And DC, potentially, with Shannon Harris. We could see upwards of 6 coaches change. I would say Nolan. Becht is the one that's, I would say, guaranteed to be back. Nolan second, and then Party/Stoops third and fourth, and then Skip 5, and we'll see. Today's the day where the UFL's been talked about the most. Yeah, but not necessarily for the best reasons, though. I wonder if this is a move from a higher ups, maybe some sort of ultimatum was given. I mean, I wouldn't be too shocked. Like, this feels like a Hail Mary, because, as I was saying before, there is a universe where this ends up working, and the league looks like genius. Because if you end up getting your worst of these 4 markets, your worst of the 4 markets, to average 7K a game, and I mean, like, they never hit below 7K except for maybe once. That's already significantly better than Memphis and Houston. And if your other 3 markets, if one of them does better than Michigan and the other 2 are like 9K averages, that's a success. Like, that is objectively a success in attendance. Now, if your TV ratings on the West Coast overall go up, and that matches the decline or exceeds the decline you're going to get in Michigan, Birmingham, and Houston, and your other markets do well and your TV rating goes up, you look like geniuses. But there's also the chance that your TV ratings get taken down a lot because you just lost 3 of your best TV markets in Houston, despite how bad the team was. Houston still had decent TV ratings, Birmingham and Michigan, and your attendance gets worse. That's what the big question is, but we'll see. I forgot what college Skip was talking to last year, but he could have a much more security college job. There's a good chance that he could go there. I mean, I think there's a really good shot he could go to a place in college or retire, because, again, it feels like he was somebody who was really taking into that Birmingham culture and was becoming that face in Birmingham. And so now there's no team in Birmingham. It's like, well, is he going to be there? Thank God the baby child Cowboys and the Battlehawks are coming back. The Battlehawks lander. Like, if Daryl didn't do anything like he was out the door, it'll be very interesting to see exactly what ends up happening with this, with Moose and all that, because remember, Moose is like second in terms of the technical thing. He's like second behind Russ Brandon, but then obviously you still have, the owners, but owners minus Rock, since he basically doesn't do anything. But yeah, the league offices, okay, blah blah. I can neither confirm nor deny, says somebody. It says Mike G on there. What was it supposed to be my heart? Love Tree. I went out crazy. Relocated 2 teams that have been the past 2 champions, and all the USFL teams are being relocated, said Marlon Williams. Mike Mitchell saying something we've heard from a couple other people so far. Get both jerseys. Okay, that's wild. Say to the Stallions saying we're going to January 6th. The Stallions camp tomorrow is insane. That is wild. I'm a Battlehawks here. We get too much love. We have 0 rings. Hey, I mean, you got to the XFL championship game twice. You did have the best regular season record last year, so that's pretty solid. He's getting folks to watch the TV when the games aren't FX. That's the one thing I really hope doesn't happen. I think a lot of people really forget that if the league starts in February, you're going to have so many games on FX. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize that if you start the season right after the Super Bowl, the networks you're on get college basketball. Are you still there? Okay, so we're just joking. Yes, you can see me moving. You can see me talking. But point I was gonna say, if you start the season after the Super Bowl, that entire March Madness window is FX. That's what ended up happening to the XFL, and it's gonna happen again if you do it. That's why I've been saying that you have to keep the start date where it is. It sucks you have to go against March Madness in the beginning. The bottom line is you're still going to go against the NBA and NHL playoffs, even if you start in the Super Bowl. Because remember, the Super Bowl keeps getting pushed back almost every year. It's going to be like President's Day or whatever is when it's going to end up being in the future. So all you're doing is just adding extra things you're going against. You add like another major golf tournament. You're adding like a couple other big things. So it's like you got to keep it there. If the UFL folds next year, then that's karma for getting rid of the USFL conference teams. Yeah, the players are commenting on this a lot. It makes a lot of sense for sure. It just, because I mean, especially guys on these teams, like, because that's another thing that we've kind of forgot to talk about it. We talked about certain things, but it's gonna be a big deal for a lot of these players because you got to remember a lot of these guys have re-signed with Michigan, and is it possible some of these guys are gonna be regretting it that they're hearing this news? Because I mean, for those of you who don't know, when the initial merger happened, and this is when I actually had talked to a couple people of, and I've heard other things. A lot of players were getting news about the merger from Larson, from Mike Mitchell. Like, they didn't know what was going on. So it is entirely possible that all of these Michigan, Houston players had no idea this was even a potential, like, possibility. And now it happened, and, like, I just signed to play in a place I don't want to be at or something like that. So that's another big question mark. You could have a lot of guys end up retiring or, like a Marlon Williams, going to another team because they don't want to play in. Let's say the Stallions move to Boise. He don't want to play in Boise. He just, says, F it, I'm going to go play for the Battlehawks. You know what I mean? We'll see. Give people a little break of football and they will crave it. FX, every game in FX would be rough. So I'm vehemently against starting the season after the Super Bowl. There's still a lot of NFL news going on at that time. So you're still having to deal with that news and college football news since the season also gets pushed back because of, the extra playoff games that they added last year. It's pretty wild. I mean, tonight is going to go down in history for sure, like UFL Isaac's saying. It really is an insane thing. This was a bombshell. And this was a bombshell to a degree we have not seen in spring football. Again, the UFL, or not the UFL, the merger, we saw that. We knew that was, we had heard that for a long time. So we knew that was going to happen, right? We had heard that. And then when it did happen, it was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But, we had heard that for a while. This one was just out of nowhere. Like, this was just out of nowhere. And to see it happen like this is just insane. That you had this huge announcement come out of complete left field with no real, again, the only inkling we had was the Panthers. Everything else we had no clue was going to happen. To see it happen like this is insane. I'm not even shocked. So that video I posted is number 1 of my last 10 videos. I've gained 3 subs from it. Not even shocked. Just because it is insane that this happened. It's wild. It's wild. Of course that video is doing better. It's insane. Was that back here all the time? Was that? Yes, that is here. The one that was in the comments all the time. Yes, he's that one. I mean, he's been around the channel for a long time. He's has his own channel. Again, one of the bigger spring football guys on YouTube as well. Done a lot of stuff with overall spring and alt leagues, like helmet stuff, jersey stuff. But yeah, when this news broke, I was just trying to see, would anyone want to hop on a live stream? Because a lot of people are either doing stuff, because, say the Stallions was, literally out. Because remember, he's in, the Central Time, so he was, out for dinner. He would have been on. There's a couple other guys that could have been on you. I mean, it's like he was talking about with Jake. Jake did have something happen, so he wasn't going to come on tonight. But there's a couple guys that could have, so it's just, I want to talk to someone else about this, directly, because this is just insane news to have been broken just out of nowhere. It really is wild. I uploaded my first Stallions video last night on my channel this week. Outline all football. Goodbye to the Stallions. It's rough. I mean, it's like you said with Michigan Panthers pride people. For people like them who covered one team and who like are in that area, it is just, it's so rough to see that happen. It really is. Those are the people I really feel for the most, are those who are not only huge fans of those teams, but who legit covered those teams specifically, and they're gone. Because even if they stay the Panthers, when you're someone who's based in that area and your team goes, it's a lot different than, again, like me, who if the Panthers move to another city, it's like I was a Panthers fan, I'm not in Michigan, I don't have any care about being in Michigan, like from a personally standpoint. But for people like them, it's just, that's rough, man. It really is awful to see, and it definitely really sucks. It will be interesting. There he is. But it'll be very interesting to see what ends up happening. Again, expect a video tomorrow. So, as I've said, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the bell, turn on, because, again, according to what Larson said, there's going to be even more news coming out tomorrow. So, I guess I'm going to have to be on Twitter almost the whole day, finding out what ends up coming out. Again, I'm going to try and get all the info I can before I leave on vacation to go up north, visit family. It'll be interesting, but, we'll see. I think that this is a move that I don't really think it's going to work. Like, it could, again, I think the Boise move is smart. Get a West, like, if you're viewing this if you're a league executive and you genuinely say 2027 is happening, then this is halfway a good decision. Because, again, Boise makes sense. Columbus makes sense. Because if you put a team in Columbus, you have that Western front already established. You can add Seattle next season. But if you're doing this as a Hail Mary attempt, then I think it's a wild Hail Mary to get rid of a place like Michigan. I hope I hear some news after work. Came check my phone during work. Feels like I'm in school. It's wild, but I mean, we'll see. Late stream. Again, I think it's the second to latest stream we've done on the channel, but had to go live. It was cool being able to talk to Royce about this stuff. It's just, I don't know. It still hasn't fully set in, like, exactly what has happened here, because it's like you're kind of just blocked. Because, I mean, the fact that there is a Birmingham event tomorrow is so effing funny. Like, that is so funny that you're having this event legit tomorrow. It's like when the Brahmas had that announcement. I think it was like during the merger they had an announcement, like back when they were questioning if they were going to last the merger, and it was there as well. Weird, funny timing, but it's going to be a big deal. Like, what gets said, because I wouldn't be shocked if Skip just says, I'm gone. Because, again, I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't. Because if he's, I don't know, man, we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening. I think that it is definitely a big question, but that's so UFL. What have since the fold San Antonio, the Birmingham, Michigan? I would, again, San Antonio, I actually would say Arlington. I get they have the hub there, but if you're talking purely from, do I think this market is going to be more successful in 2026 than they were in 2025? I don't really think Arlington's going to be that much better. Like, San Antonio had solid, not great, but solid attendance despite being technically the worst team in this era of spring football history. Yet Arlington was, well, they choked a lot of games, but they were still technically a 500 team at the end of the season and really didn't have that great attendance. It was a bit better than I think I expected it to be, but it wasn't like, again, Birmingham was better TV rating, so let's see. But before we end this stream, let's see, is there anything happening on the United Football League Reddit? Mac's been through league hiatus, blah, blah, blah. Something more regional. Yeah, we already saw that. We've gone from 2 teams 26 to 2 more to this. True. Hail Mary season relocations. Yep, that's definitely what it was. Sympathies. Stallions fan checking out. Not shocked. 80 comments is insane. Less than 3 hours. Larson socked him, saying a few venue changes could happen, and that's exactly what happened. And Ohio's getting. This is my 9/11, bro. Rip the show bus. I should get voted no more. I guess there's no more time to Dwayne. I guess any more player tweets, at least from the ones that I have followed, because admittedly I didn't follow every single player, but I haven't seen it. Can I post a link in the comments? Let me see. They might say no, you're not allowed to do that. I'm gonna try. So again, since we're gonna end the stream soon, I do have a NFL fantasy football league that is starting up. It's the same one we did last year. So if you do want to join that one, here is the link. I hope that works. Yes. So that is the link to the Fantasy Football League we're doing. If you end up winning, if you go to the channel banner, you'll see that I got Mole 10's picture up there for the winner. We need like 6 more spots to the max, or else that draft's going to be like in mid-August. We're going to stream that. So if you do want to join that, just click that link, comment in here that you're joining the league or something like that. Again, we got like 6 spots left. Got a lot of people who were in last year's league back as well, and then some newcomers. So it should be fun. Again, it was a fun time doing it last year. So, and I can't wait to see Chris end up drafting the entire Detroit Lions roster again. Yeah, this is my 9/11. USFL is gone, man, terrible. It really is rough seeing them go. I mean, I know that the league was made super quick so they would get out before the XFL. It was the first in what I view as the ultra-modern spring football era, which is the post-AAF 2020 XFL. And to see all those teams being moved, and they better not change the names. Like, I know some people are going to be upset if they keep the names. I think there's no way they can get rid of the names. Like, there's no way you're going... Like, the Roughnecks, I get it, but there's no way you're going to actually change those ones. It's just wild. Yeah, I'm going to still cover the league. I can't imagine doing this channel without covering spring football. Like, is it going to be definitely different? Am I probably going to have a pretty rant-filled video come out in a couple days before I leave when I'm, like, fully got my opinion set on this? Yes. But I'm still going to love... I mean, it's still spring football. I love spring football, and a lot of it is the players. Like, well, I do think that the CBA... I will talk about the CBA for sure in the future about how that definitely was not a bit... Like, look, the CBA is not what killed the league, but it definitely was something that had some sort of effect on the league in a sense of what it meant for the future. So I will talk about that in a future video, unless I forget about it. It's just... It definitely does hurt to see this, and I know a lot of people are going to be tuning out of the league. But I'm still going to cover this league as long as it's here, especially because it's got that feeling that, like, 26 is the last hurrah for it. But, yeah. Just casting this news as a huge spring fan to watch every game since the XFL began back in the day. I was shocked, but then it makes sense. These teams didn't show up for games. That's on you. Yeah, except Michigan. I mean, Michigan technically was the best team last year in regards to showing up in terms of improvement because they were the only team that improved. So seeing Michigan leave despite being the only team that improved in attendance, and the fact they've had a trend of doing that, because from what Mike Mitchell said, they improved from 23 to 24 and then 24 to 25. No other teams even come close to that. So getting rid of the only team that actually went up in attendance is insane. And even if you don't count attendance improvement, they still were the 3rd best attended team overall. And again, it's not like Arlington had incredible attendance, so it's just definitely a pretty wild one. Sucks to see because I like the USFL a lot better than the XFL. Can't show up for games if people didn't know you were about the team's marketing's been awful and always has been awful. Yeah, I mean, Michigan was like the only one that really did. No, Memphis had that like 30 Memphis Days thing, but Michigan was the only one that really was marketing, and guess what? They actually went up in attendance. So, yeah, Michigan's a big surprise. They had better be a place to play that didn't cost too much play. Yeah, because I mean that's the whole issue. It's just Michigan is wild. Like I get it that there's the issues with the whole how much it costs to play there, but god damn, I mean that actually increased in attendance, and you got rid of that market. Like, come on, here's diabolical. RC, nice. A couple of you ended up joining the league. Nice. Again, this draft for this fantasy league is going to be like in mid-August, early August. It's going to be like the week I come back from vacation. I say vacation. I'm really visiting family. Well, I guess it is vacation, but that's when that'll be at. But, yeah, Birmingham's marketing was not good. That's the best way to put it. It was not good. That was rough. I mean, they really did not market like whatsoever. From what I understand, they had like 2 billboards, and that was pretty much it. Like, come on, man. Michigan has given the UFL the most exposure to Jake Bates. Jake Bates, Bryce Perkins. It's absolutely crazy, but true. Nor is it fills up. Yeah, I mean, last year we didn't get it fully filled up, but that's completely fine. Just 20 is the max, so if people join, I want to make sure that they have space for it. But again, the draft wouldn't be till like mid-August, which I will end up streaming that one just like I did last year, so that'll be a fun one. Hopefully, I mean, last year I got 2nd place. Mole 10 got a nice game in the championship, but yeah. And only billboards. That is so true. I mean, and then I know that like Marlon Williams said that it was because of the Ringmakers. It wasn't on the league. I know shockingly didn't make a mistake, but it was on the Ringmakers. But seeing them get a Zoom meeting for their ring celebration after the Defenders like won the championship was not a good look. Again, I know it's on them, but still, absolutely wild that happened. But that was pretty funny. Yeah, for sure. Let's go look this up, I guess, while I'm in a stream. Look up something else on Pokemon League, see if this ends up getting updated. If not, I gotta contact people which don't want it, but we'll see. Oh man, like this weekend had been going pretty good, and then it's like today is just like out of nowhere, it's like huge rough. Like Sunday was such a W day, and then I didn't really do much yesterday, but it was still a nice calm day, and then today was going good, and then James Larson, half the league is gone. What? Like, oh, come on, man, that's wild. But yeah. Let's see, refresh this. Up to 10 comments in that video, not even shocked. Yeah, just spiking right now. It makes sense. It's a big deal. Biggest news we've had in a long time. So we'll see. Again, expect another video probably tomorrow. If what Larson said is true, we're gonna have even more news come out tomorrow. So expect another video updating this whole situation tomorrow. Again, if anything comes out from late Friday to, let me pull up the calendar. If any news comes out Friday the 25th to the 3rd of August, well, the 2nd of August, I will not be able to make a video on that because I will be gone. I'll post like a community tab update or something like that, but I won't be able to make an update till I'm back because I'm going to be gone for like a week, a little over a week and a half. So I won't be able to post any updates during that time frame, so hopefully all the news comes out in the next couple days. St. Louis marketing wasn't good. I did hear about that as well. They wanted to do this. They didn't merge the leagues. They bought out the competition. Now they're dropping the XFL and USFL conference names. I really hate they're doing that. Like, I get it if you're going to move them, but it was so cool to have those conferences for sure. There's more news. Be better than April. I've had a very chaotic, busy last 7 days. A lot has happened. I hope at least a lot of it was solid, but yes, this is confirmed multiple sources. From what it sounds like, Larson had this story brewing, and it's just that Mark Perry posted it first. So I know we've joked about Mark Perry in the past. When you have him and James Larson both putting something out, and then guys like Parks and Mitchell aren't declining it or aren't saying it's false, and you have XFL analysts also saying that, it's pretty much true. And again, it's a lot of news that I've heard that has been kind of corroborated. Like I heard that Memphis was going to be relocated, and then I'd seen in the Discord that there were talks about Ford Field being a huge issue and that Michigan was going to be relocated potentially because of that. In the AFN podcast yesterday, James said that there was potential for venue changes, like multiple of them, and well, it happened, but it is wild. But yeah, I mean, it'll be good for the league. Hopefully, new markets for sports team. It comes down to the 7K number. That's the number, 7K. If every team does better than 7K for the year, it's good. If not, it's bad. But we'll see. While people watch a league when the teams can fold in a year, it's definitely really rough. It's been a lousy week. That does suck. I'm just hoping that the next couple of days are better for all of us here, but I hope your week starts getting better. This was a wild thing to have happen. Just, I don't know, we're having to make a video, make a live stream. I'm probably going to go take a walk and then, I don't know, head to bed or something, but yeah, so support. Again, if you're based in those new markets, of course, make sure you support the teams and all that. I think that'll probably do it for this live stream. Again, expect a video tomorrow unless news actually doesn't come out, but it sounds like there's going to be news tomorrow, so make sure you look out for a video tomorrow. Subscribe with the bell turned on so you're notified when that happens. And again, thank you all for joining this late stream, this random stream. I know normally I have like almost half week advance for a stream, but this time it was about a 10-minute advance, but it was cool having Royce on here talking about him. So it was really cool. You watched the Stallions, stands were so empty. They were my favorite team, but you could see them. Yeah, not as good as 2022. Attendance went down every single year, but and so that was no marketing. But hope you all have a good night. As always, guys, think about subscribing. Think about becoming a community member for 99 cents a month. Exclusive video, team emojis, and all that.